a solution to the conflict in Ukraine. And that is why the European Union is actively, openly admitting to wanting to punish Hungary and punish Orbán. And one of the ways that they believe they're going to hurt Hungary and to hurt Viktor Orbán is by scheduling an EU foreign ministers event in Brussels at the same time that Orbán and Hungary, which has the presidency of the EU Council, is organizing an event connected to their role as president of the European Union in Budapest. So it's kind of a protest scheduling conflict. So no foreign ministers will be able to go to Budapest because they'll be at a formal Brussels initiated event. Childish. This is the stuff of 3-year-olds, but that's who rules Europe at this moment. 3-year-olds.
This is exactly correct. In fact, what they're proposing to do is that apparently Orbán and his team wanted to have a foreign ministers meeting in Budapest to discuss ways forward. So the EU is now going to organize an EU Council meeting for the same day, obliging everybody to attend this council meeting in Brussels so that nobody can go to the meeting in Budapest. As you correctly say, it is childish. It is so petty. It is stupid. It isn't even stupid. It is ridiculous. And of course, the world sees it as ridiculous. Orbán has just been to the 3 most important capitals in the world. He's been to.
The world is not paying attention. Good morning, Zizu. Look, I don't usually click on them, but as I was looking at my phone, I got a YouTube comment notice. I clicked on it, and the really kind gentleman whose name is hidden behind some sort of handle called me a scammer on GTII and him. And I want to congratulate the shorts. I think the criminals. I think they have a perfect criminal strategy. And in the case of GTII, they started at 5 cents and under by selling tens of millions of shares that did not exist. Reichman signed a convertible toxic note in November of, I believe it was 2020. In January of 2021, he bought it back. They issued it something like, you can look it up, something like $80,000 face. They gave him $68,000. It was something like that. So they gave him less money than the par value. To buy it back, he had to pay back par plus 25%. He did that. We went, when I say we, I don't speak to Reichman. I wasn't involved in any of their strategies other than I was an investor. But the company went on a campaign to catch out the shorts, and they tried at least a dozen different ways to do this. 2 Novembers ago, I believe a squeeze was in progress, and I believe the criminals were down $1 billion. They convinced, either intentionally or they just appealed to their egos, but I'm sure there was some sort of other things involved. They convinced Lou Bravo, Frank Benedetto, and George Fliakos, whoever the CEO is of COSM, to come get our money and get everyone. The emotions were high. Come over to COSM. They made false promises. But what it did, people lost money in COSM. Oh, no, some people made money. Okay, some people made money. But the majority of people lost money. But what it did is it busted the squeeze. That's my judgment. And since then, There was another sort of rally at the beginning of last year, sort of spring of last year. But since then, it's just been under attack all the way. And I warned you. I couldn't come out and just say sell, 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 because one, I could be wrong. Two, looking back on it, some of my information may have been privileged or not. I don't remember. But it was just my opinion. But I started in a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, telling you guys there is a battle, palace intrigue. There's a battle in the C-suite. There's a battle for control of the company. Frankly, I was asked to be CEO of the company in July of last year. I said yes. Now, I wasn't asked by Reichman. I was asked on behalf of a group of investors. I said yes. I think now other people want to be CEO of GTII. So I don't know where those investors stand as it relates to me. I wish anyone well that wants to do it. But I'll tell you, the one thing that a CEO has to be able to do, like my Chinese investor used to tell me, you must learn to say 2 words. You too nice. You need to learn to say 2 words. N-O. And that's what CEOs are going to have to do. In the case of GTII, Reichman dug his heels in, and he may or may not have taken money out of the company, but I'm going to use an approximate number. The stock was approximately $2 a year ago. You can look it up. I don't have time, something like that. And so his desire to hold the butterfly close in his hand broke its pattern and took the flight away from the butterfly. And now you're not even left with a caterpillar. You're left with an insect that doesn't have wings and doesn't have some of its legs. I think it was unfortunate for shareholders that Reichman decided to do that, and I made that clear as I went along. I also suggested to each and every one of you over and over and over and over again that there was an opportunity to do tax loss selling and then take the money and go in other shares. Now, it is true, some of the other shares, like, for example, Logic, the Aubrey Advisors sponsored SPAC, which was a disaster because every single one of these fronts, be it Yorkville, Aubrey, Chadron, Ionic, Power Up Lending, Lynn Partners, and the list is almost endless. They're all fronts for your own investment funds. In my opinion, these are U.S. funds using offshore stooges and fronts who make a lot of money, by the way. Look at what Yorkville just did with DJT. 200,000 shares they get for stepping in there. And they're going to fund DJT. No, they're not. They're just going to write a document. The criminals who sold shares into existence which do not exist are going to give them that money so that they can buy new shares from the company, which suppresses the per share value of anything David Nunes does. And they close out their risk. Thank you very much. And in all likelihood, because of how they do it, they won't pay taxes. And Wagner doesn't care. No one cares. But this is what we're up against. So this guy who calls me, whatever he called me this morning, he's part of it too. So I congratulate the shorts. GTII started at 5 cents. Apparently it traded at 5 cents or lower today. I congratulate them. They still have a massive short position. And, I have no idea what's going on with the CEO. There's a couple of other people interested. But if it were me, I'm not going to tell you how I would do it. But I'll tell you this, there would be no deals that would help the shorts. Everybody on that board right now, gone. And any big remuneration that would come to the CEO would be put in some sort of employee slash constituency pot that would just get divided up with everybody. I don't know how it would work with shareholders, but the shareholders would be my first priority, not the company, not the officers, not myself. Shareholders. That's what lawyers have done. They've separated the CEO's responsibility. It's supposed to be shareholders, but they've made it company first. So then the shareholders get destroyed while the CEO can enrich herself or himself. I congratulate the shorts. They've been very effective. If you want to listen to the boo birds that call me a scammer, you're welcome to. They will disappear in this particular story. They'll disappear once the stock, they get it lower and they can get out of their day trades. They're just here because Ann Wagner doesn't care. Adina Friedman doesn't care. Gary Gensler doesn't care, to the point they're almost criminally negligent. They just enter trades to sell. They just want the stock lower so they can cover. Hit and run. That's their strategy. They're not geniuses. So they've got to destroy my credibility. Then they've got to try to shut me down, either through my own angers, or they try to find something about me that can shut me down. And then there are other alternatives. But I'll tell you, in the case of GTII, the only thing that's going to work is if Reichman is gone. But I also believe now the only thing that'll work is if everybody is gone. Everybody. Because they've shown their judgment is wrong. And then I would build, I'm not going to, there's a guy that I know pretty well, I like. There's another guy I know too. So whatever. But you build a new team, but you have a laser focused goal of adding value to the shares immediately. And that means you got to negotiate with CEOs and say, hey, ignore the stock price. That stock price is manipulated by the criminals. Have you guys noticed? Everyone says, oh, William is never right. I've been telling you for months, the stock market, from last fall, that the stock market's going higher. Everybody said doom and gloom. Well, have you noticed that as it goes higher, what are the one stock area that doesn't? The stock's under sort of $1 billion in market cap, 700 million. Ham always says, oh, they do it to all stocks. I point out to you where the killing fields are, where they can shoot fish in a barrel, is in stocks under $1 billion. And no one comes in to buy because they know that's how they're making money. One hand, they're making money as all the other stocks are going up. The other hand, they're facilitating this crime on an industrial scale. And I'm talking about the big funds that you put your retirement money in. They're doing this on an industrial scale. It avoids taxes, steals from you, destroys our country. But hey, as long as Jeff Bezos and his ilk can divorce their wives and marry prizes like a passed around woman, like whatever her name is, good on them. They're building their nirvana. The rest of us have to live with it. Look, it's not hopeless. If you don't see what's going on by now, I don't know how else. I'll keep trying to tell you. course, it's hot in here. I get worked up and all that. But we have to use these systems against them. Now, there's some stocks out there that are moving a little bit in the smaller range, but I noticed they're all tied to Yorkville. Yorkville. This Yorkville, Lynn Partners, it's as if they case the joint. They case the bank. And they line up, they get a piece of paper, they give it to the offshore hedge fund that says, this is when the guards are there, this is when the money's going to be big. All you got to do, you can go in broad daylight, because we paid off the chief of police, Gary Gensler. We paid off the bank president, Adina Friedman, and we've paid off the guards that are supposed to oversee it, Ann Wagner. So just go in daylight, doesn't matter. But just in case, as you come out of the bank with all the loot, just in case, we are going to be there, or one of our buddies will be there, Yorkville, up front, and we'll be driving the getaway car. And the getaway car is coming, like Yorkville just announced, for DJT. They're going to provide funds. They're not providing funds. Yorkville and their associates and others, maybe in this case it was others, they sold DJT into existence, which did not exist, taking your money, like absorbing your money. It's in a prime brokerage account. They can't get to it. They can't take it out until the trades are closed. Well, if the stock goes to 500, I personally don't think it's going to squeeze now that Yorkville's involved. But Ham said that Nunes will not sell down here. He'll wait till it goes to its highest squeeze. How do you tell that? My guess, if you trade DJT, get out at 100. Maybe it'll go higher, but they're going to do a G, ME, AMC, Cosmo, just like COSM. They came and promised you the moon, but they got $35 million out at 33 cents. That's what'll happen with DJT. And Yorkville gets 200,000 shares to drive the getaway truck. But that arrangement means that the criminal shorts don't run a massive risk of much higher numbers. It also dilutes David Nunes's value of anything he does on a share basis. Now he's going to look at it, hey, I'm getting $2.5 billion cash. But imagine if that weren't already in place. Imagine if we had real markets that had transparency. The Speaker of the House at Trump's convention, I couldn't listen to him, but he started out by saying Republican values are free markets. Really? Tell that to Ann Wagner. Tell that to himself, whatever his name is, the Speaker of the House with owl glasses and a deep stentorian voice. Republican values are freedom and personal responsibility and free markets. Where's the free market? Where is the free market? All right, I'm going to shut up because he's going to call in. Let me make sure I have the speaker on. Just go slowly. Just go slowly. I can't tell. Anyway, he'll call in. I assume my speaker's turned on. He'll call in. So let's go through some of you. Hey, Zizu. Hey, the one. It's hot in here. I can feel it. Sorry for not wearing a jacket. Hey, Ben Palmer. Hey, the Mexican. Fourth to hit the like button. Yeah, I guess I hurt myself by not asking for subscribers, not asking for donations, not asking for like buttons, but whatever. I guess I'm such a scam artist. I don't need to do that. Is that how that goes? I don't know. There's no positive news on GTII. I will try to get. Richard Hoffman on if he wants to. What I see ahead are lawsuits. I think there will be a settlement so the board can resign. I think that's already out there. I mean, the CEO can resign, but I think it's going to, guys, everyone is welcome to their own opinion. Why would a guy from Chicago, trained in derivatives, who makes his wealth with hedge funds, why would he want to be CEO of a obscure company, GTII? I mean, maybe he can make $20 million if he gets the stock to $2. Maybe he can do that. But I don't think that's why. All right.
You ready to go?
It's hotter than a pepper sprout in here.
Oh, don't worry about it. Just sweat it out a little bit.
All right, you're on.
All right, everybody, let's rock and roll here. I got plenty to yapper about today. I'll start out with GTII. I spoke with Richard Hoffman. He's waiting for the court update. The CEO of Finger missed the filing, and they moved him to whatever market this is. I don't know what it is. Richard said that when the court appoints a receiver, they expect to have this fixed quickly. So let Richard tell you, he's doing a call at 3:00 today, but that's what he told me when I called him and asked him what was going on. All right. He says that once the management is removed, they'll be able to move quickly and turn things around. So we have to wait for that point to happen. A couple of people are posting, I guess their bashes attacking me. And all I can do, everyone, is bring it to your attention. The DTC, the NSDC, FINRA, the SEC, all know the naked short in GTII. Alpine was busted for it. The Kramers are busted for it. We are not the police. That's all we can do. I'm not the CEO. I don't know why he's missing filings and doing what's going on, but Richard will take care and address that. Big shareholders are behind it, and let them do what they have to do. I can't do anything about it. If you like, call the police. Good luck. We tried 150 times while the stock was trading to call the police on it. All right. That shows you what the equity markets is all about. Complete fraud. If you don't fight, we don't have anything to fight for. I mean, you can't do anything. It's just a disgrace. Let's move on to DJT. If you are trading, I think now's the time to pull back to actually take a shot on it if you wanted to do it. So if you're going to buy 1,000 shares, you know what? You can buy 300 now, 300 if it dips a little bit more, and then another 400 at a lower point. If not, you got 300 shares. If it runs back 4 points, you can sell it and you make $1,200. That's called trading. I have a shareholder, William, besides our friend in Miami, who has been trading, and he's trading GameStop off of my recommendations.
Are you making money for her?
Him? He's doing something. I mean, but in GameStop only, he's traded 8 times. 8 times in a 4-point move in GameStop. 1,000 shares at a clip. Okay, he's traded 8 times. He's profit of $7,500 on 8 trades. Okay, sold it again today at somewhere. I don't know where he sold it, but he said he made a sale. He's up 7,500. Has nothing to do with the stock right now and is waiting for a pullback. 8 trades, 7,500. If you bought 1,000 shares and held on and you're up 4 points or 5 points, you're up 5,000. And you still have risk on the table. He's traded it 8 times, showing you that you don't have to be the Statue of Liberty and you can buy the dip, sell the rip, buy the dip, sell the rip. For some reason, it's working perfect. Okay, when it works perfect, that's when you do it. KOSS and they're starting to take the air out of that again. Maybe at $8.50 to $9, I take a shot on that one. Buy the dip, sell the rip. Last time it ran to $12 the other day. William, I just posted something on Twitter, and I don't care who gets mad. Who cares? I couldn't care less.
I'm mad.
DJT.
I have to go to my safe space.
Okay. DJT, with the most powerful man in the world, with the most powerful backers in the world. Okay. It has been naked shorted, and I believe that is number one on the short squeeze target. Number one, by far. You have everybody there. Powerful people, an assassination attempt, you name it. Excuse me. He's got 700 million shares short. Excuse me. Johnny Tobacco posted last night that they pressed the bet. Hold on a second, I'm calling. I'm sorry, I'm just coughing. He's got 700 million shares short, and they showed the proof that they doubled the short sales just before the assassination attempt. I don't know how many more crazy things have to happen before these shorts get exposed. Everyone's been reposting it. I sent it to every alphabet agency in the world, newspaper reporters. Someone needs to investigate who was selling this stock short last week, and their names should be posted on who they were and the amounts they did. I don't care who. This is an attempt on the next president's life. They need to be exposed. The SEC, the DOJ, FNGR, everybody. There needs to be investigation. Actually, look into the option trading last week on the put side. No one's reported on that yet, but it was a great find by Johnny Tobacco to post that. And I thought it was it's a great expose. Someone needs to look into it. I know many people close to Devin Nunes have sent it to him, and I hope they say something about it tomorrow when Donald Trump speaks. Hold on one second. I'm just take a glass of water. Still got a little tickle from the stupid cough, whatever the hell it was. So I can't believe that people keep telling me you got to buy GameStop. I don't believe in GameStop anymore. I believe GameStop is a pure scheme, not meaning a scheme like in a negative way, that are longs buying it and promoting it to each other. That's all it is. And listen, the shorts aren't here anymore. You can see it. It's moving up orderly, nice and slow, orderly. Where's it moving to? What's the valuation on the company? To me, these are longs buying longs. That doesn't mean you can't make money with it. I've been telling you, buy the dip, sell the rip. It's a perfect buy the dip, sell the rip. Investors keep trying to accumulate it and move it higher. I don't know what they're moving it higher for. I think the shorts, if they wanted to, could call the company up and the company will just sell them more shares. That's my opinion. I've only been doing this a pretty long time, but everyone else seems to know better. So I'm just giving you my opinion. Everyone has an opinion like an asshole. So I gave you mine. All right. I think it's longs. William telling me, I'm telling William tells somebody else, and we're all buying it because you think you're going to squeeze it. But still, not one person has ever addressed 120 million shares. Who are they sold to? It's been 3 or 4 months now. No one's ever claimed responsibility for funding this company. And if no one's claiming it, that means the shorts did it. And I believe the trading desk have the short sellers out of the game right now in this name. That's the way stock looks to me. It's trading like there's not one share for sale. Versus finger motion, as soon as you buy 100 shares, they mark it down. That is the finger motion doesn't trade the volume, but it shows you that the shorts are still here. And GME, I don't see the shorts doing anything. The stock goes bid, no one even hits the bid. It just ticks up, it doesn't, it's not screaming like it used to, but it's got a different trading pattern though. It's like William's going to buy it, then I'm buying it, then someone else is buying, go buy it. At the end of the day, I don't know what the race is. And you can see they just take the 16 stock, it just moves so easy. There's no wild swings anymore. It's an orderly march up. I don't think institutions are buying it because they all sold it. And I don't think institutions would buy it on a march up and that they would wait for a dip. But that's my opinion. So that's my opinion. I believe DJT is the play, not GameStop. Okay, I really do believe DJT is the play, not GameStop. I think GameStop, you can move it up, you can move it down, you can do whatever you like. But the home run swing is going to be in the big stock, DJT. He's speaking tomorrow at the Republican National Convention. He's going to be the next president of the United States. Pat Byrne is going to be in the cabinet somewhere, and he's going to expose the naked shorts. That leads us to whatever we're following. And William, have any questions on that line of thinking?
I am intrigued by a couple of things with DJT that, and I think Johnny Tobacco put it out, the large increase in shorts prior to this weekend. And then it's interesting, this announcement that Yorkville Advisors is going to, quote unquote, provide funds. I don't know if you want to comment on either one of those.
Yorkville doesn't control it. Devin Nunes does. And I believe they're not doing anything unless it's north of $54.
Right.
What $54 represents, you go figure it out. I posted it 6 zillion times. You figure it out.
Okay. I also noticed, I just looked, your X handle is now something other than what you said the other day in terms of the title of it. Let me look it up.
I don't know what it changed.
Naked Shorts. Naked Shorts at Ham 59591 Shorts.
It's, unfortunately, my daughter did it for me, and there's all the numbers. For some reason, ham happens to have a lot of people using the word ham, and you need to go out like 17 digits to get a name. I was blackballed for calling out Hindenburg because they robbed the country of India, and India said that if you make it short and do financial crimes, they're going to hang you. I just stated what India said, the country, and I was kicked off. I don't even know Hindenburg. I know nothing about him, but their crime should be trialed. The case should be moved to India and let them handle it, what it is.
This gentleman says GTII won't trade on Fidelity or Schwab. It seems any money invested is locked up. So apparently they just can take your account, lock it up. I'm incredibly frustrated forever having listened to invest in this stock. Lost my ass, starting over now, late in life with nothing. Can't blame anyone but myself.
Well, I feel for you, and it's happened to all of us. I have friends with 30-something million shares of stock, and they're behind Richard Hoffman trying to get management thrown out so that we can turn this around. So my friends own 31 million shares, north of 30 million shares. And I know what you're saying, but they own it north of $1. So you do the math. I mean, so I understand your pain. I don't care if you lost $1. I'm with you. But we can't control what management's doing. We're not the company. So Richard Hoffman at 3:30 today, please listen. I do believe there's hope. Listen to Richard and let's see what happens. I know the people I know want to turn this around, but we can't do it till we throw this guy out. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's the key is you have to create a start.
The reason they have to throw him out is because the SEC, the DTC, FINRA, the government, no one's done anything. They have every opportunity. They even give us the proof, and they've done nothing. So the company needs to somehow build a fundamental plan, and the CEO doesn't seem to want to do anything. So that's where we stand.
And as far as I can tell, it's trading at 8 cents now. So
wait to listen to what Richard Hoffman.
Yeah, he comes on at 3 o'clock.
He said to me an hour ago that they expect the court to start picking up. There's a couple of jockeying things that moved it back and delayed it a little bit. But he believes the action will pick up next week. And they believe they'll have a receiver come in, a receivership, I guess it's called. And that person will put the ship in the right direction and throw out management. So that's what we're waiting on the court for.
All right. So David points out that Richard's doing a live at 3 p.m. Darren. Look, you don't have to make money lost in one stock. You don't have to make it back in that stock. You can do it in others. And Ham, I wish I had money to trade some of the ideas Ham has been giving out. You could make $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 on some of these trades. But anyway,
Like I just told people to buy Trump at 36 and a quarter, 3/8, whatever, and now it's almost 37. That goes to 37, you make 70 cents. You could sell it again and wait for it to go back. You make 500, 700, and let's say I'm down $10,000 in GTII. If you can make back 500, 300, 400, you say, oh my goodness, I made back 2,000. I lost 10. I'm down 10. I made back 2. I'm only down 8. And when it gets back to where you finally claw your way back, I don't give it to $100 a day. And you get back and say, okay, I have a free shot now in GTII. My profits offset the money I invested there. And I don't have to, like William just said, you don't trade GTI. It's non-tradable that you can make money until it hits. And the same thing in finger motion. So people are looking to me saying, hey, can I trade something else? And I'm saying, absolutely. There's these 3 names, DJT, GameStop, and whatever. They're giving you the opportunities each day to do this. The shorts are creating these, the longs are creating these volatility swings in the stocks, and you can buy the dip and sell the rip. You don't have, like I said, if you want to be safe about it, you tiptoe in.
So they now are saying on over-the-counter markets, GTII, warning, this security is eligible for unsolicited quotes only. So they don't even carry a quote. This stock is not eligible for proprietary broker-dealer quotations. All right, so it's unsolicited. Then they say, warning, this security is traded on the expert market. The expert market serves broker-dealer pricing and investor best execution needs. I think it's a way of fleecing you, but anyway, quotations in expert market securities are restricted from public viewing.
That's what you want. Just you want to say, we trade with a bag on the head already. It's all the fraud. Now they're really hiding it. Just listen to Richard. I don't want to explain it. Richard will tell you, follow Richard. He's the lead on this whole thing. Just follow what he's doing. He's paying attention. He's all over it. He's using the court system to expose and get this thing going in the right direction. I'm not an attorney, so I can't really comment on legal stuff, but I believe in Richard. I know my friends have put up their stock, lock it up with Richard, and they're funding this thing, and let's see how it goes from there.
Everything in the small, it's interesting. All the markets are going up, and there really is a rotation from these bigger overpriced stocks to smaller stocks, but it's not in our area. It's like
what they do is when they stocks that are normally 500 million market cap and higher.
Yeah.
Funds can step in and buy those names.
Right.
What the naked shorts do is they drag stocks like finger motion below those numbers.
Right.
So institutions are not allowed to step in and buy them. All right, that's what they do. And that's why we get overlooked on that front. But that's not for long. Fundamentals.
Yeah, it's not forever. It's not forever.
All right. Fundamentals will carry it. And let me just recap while we're here. And I'm going to keep recapping, the finger motion stuff, because to me, it's just insane what we've been watching here by these criminals. I don't know whether it was 60 days ago, the company rang the bell on the NASDAQ. Shareholders flew in from around the globe to come to an event, to see this wonderful event that the NASDAQ has awarded this company the right to come in and ring the closing bell. It was a big event.
I was there.
They don't do it to companies that are falling apart. They do it to companies that are on the upswing. 2 weeks later, the company announces a deal that they have now a charging a mechanism using their app so that you can charge your electric car in China. They have the right to buy electricity at $10 and sell it to you at $11 using their app. All right, they had 1 million people, 900,000 people already on it. It's just starting. So you can use your app and you can pay for the electricity. And because of using their app, the electric company is giving Finger Motion the opportunity to make money off of that. What, 10% of it? So in the US, it's $15 to charge your car at a charging station. I'll make believe it's 10, so they make $1. That's 10% for doing nothing. All right, that's a business that the Chinese government has given to Finger Motion. And again, it's just starting out. So that was the second news event. This is all within 60 days. The other day, the company announced the emergency vehicle installation nationwide in China. This is not just in Shanghai or Beijing. It's all, the whole country. There's millions of cars, trucks that they need to install this emergency response program in all the cars. We're hearing the numbers $100,000 per car for this emergency broadcast system that the whole government will now know, and everyone will know what's going on in Beijing versus, Guangzhou versus Shanghai. They all know what's going on, from the electric companies, the road repairs, through the fire marshals, the ambulance, police, everybody, first responders, everything. It's going to be all tied together. And Finger Motion was granted the right to be the person to do this. How did they get it? I guess they had some sort of major lottery on TV of all the companies in China, and Finger Motion, just their number came out and they got the contract. Or maybe they just happen to know someone very powerful in that government. I'm going to go with the second one because I find it impossible. No one even heard about this contract, and there it is. Boom. People want to now see the numbers. Well, we're hearing that the numbers are going to be released every couple of weeks. Let's see what happens when we get the numbers. Then we can see how much they are making in profit. We're hearing they're making 20% on whatever they make, whatever they do. So let's see what the number is. If the government's paying them $10,000, they're going to make $2,000. Pay them $100,000, they're going to make $20,000 per installation. All right. That was the third piece of news. All right. That was in 60 days. And the stock has been almost cut in half by naked short selling, Jeff Easton and his buddies. On top of that, I was talking to a buddy today. The SEC has 45 days to approve the special dividend. We are at that clock. It's a little bit past it right now. So based on that, and people that I talk to are saying this is going to get approved shortly. The company did get comments. They have 45 days to address it to the company. The company responds, then they get approval. And we're at that door. The SEC can't shut it down. There's no reason. They're using it based on the guidelines of the SEC public company rules, all right, that they set up. And I expect that to come out. So that's, 5 things, 4 things, whatever the hell's coming out of here. The list just goes on. And every day we have 200 shares for sale. 200, 100, 200. I post the time in sales. I post it because it's embarrassing that we even have to talk about this. That's how stupid these sales are that we have to watch here. All right, it's completely ridiculous as an investor, as anyone with a brain cell, that people can actually sit here and print these stupid trades all day long. Again, people, we are not in the business, or I'm not in the business to sit here to promote it and get people to buy the stock. If I wanted to, I can do it. I don't feel the need to even tell anybody to buy it, because if you can't do your own homework, what the hell do I have to go out and tell you to do it? All right. I make my own decisions. I can read it. I'm trying to teach you as a professional how to read news. And based on the news and the proof of the naked short selling in this stock, which we've been providing for years now, trucks in front of the SEC, everywhere, we've done it all. So if it was false, the SEC would have came after us and shut us down and say, hey, there's no proof of naked shorting in the stock. They've never said anything. All right, so we know it exists, we know where it is, and we just have to wait it out. Again, we have 230 million naked shorts. We have 1.7 million real shorts. By the way, that real short data will be updated on July 24th. He short 1.7 million shares. I think everyone can sort of all agree on it. I haven't seen him cover. I don't know where anybody's talking about. This guy hasn't covered anything. The volume is dried up. There's nothing going on. There's no wash trades. How do you get two short sellers? If the guy short 1,730,000 shares and you knew there was someone short 230 million shares of stock, William, would you be looking over your shoulder? Because you know if that guy ever gets bought in, what's going to happen to you? Would you look over your shoulder? Yes or no?
Maybe.
All right. That means you're sound asleep. There's no way in creation that someone would be short 1 million shares, 1.7 million shares, knowing that someone is short 2.3 million, 230 million. And if they ever get bought in, you will lose more money than you've ever seen in your life on 1.7 million shares for no reason. No one will allow that trade. So these two people know each other. So the naked short is quarterbacking the real short. They're working together, whoever it is. I assume it's Jeff Easton and one side and his mother on the other side, someone very close to him doing it. And they're just doing, they're washing it back to them slowly, covering them. It's already down 300,000, a little bit more than that, right? From the reports of 2.1 million about 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. So slowly they're covering it. Their average price on the short is $3. I've taken away the expense. So the most they can make is $2.75. And the stock is $2.20. As you see, the stock starts to rise. Once it gets above 275, they're in the red then on all those sales on the real short. The naked short number is a little higher. I said around 410. That's the short squeeze trigger on that. And the short squeeze trigger on DJT, let me say that number again, is 54. What did Devin Nunes says? They will never sell a share below what number, William?
He didn't say that. He said he's not going to sell it below the high of the squeeze. That's what I heard. But how do you define
54.
that?
54.
All right, 54.
The short squeeze number.
So it's not going to go higher than 54, probably.
He won't sell a share until it's over that amount. He'll never sell a share down here.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's room to trade. There's
That came
room to
from
make money.
That came from Mr. Ed himself. Do you understand that in Chinese? Do I have to say it in Korean? You clean your ears. That came from Mr. Ed, the horse himself. All right. So whoever's playing games here, there's nothing going on down here. All right. So as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing going to happen down here. I'm not in the company, but that's what I heard.
I believe you.
All right. So I'm trying to give you, I have many people talking and getting information. I'm trying to relay it as best I can without getting in trouble for relaying information. As far as the short before the assassination attempt, those people should all be dragged in. You should know who they are and why they shorted it. And they should check the puts and the option sales. If anybody was selling calls, buying puts, they should all be dragged in. That's another thing. Richard Hoffman, 3:30 today, GTII. Listen to what he has to say. Finger motion, I just went over 5 great events, and the stock can't tick up. And just think about how they're sitting in fear, these guys, because there is no activity. Longs, I can't ring your doorbell and tell you to go find an opportunity. You have to figure that out yourself. All right. If you can't figure out how to invest or put things together, people were buying NVIDIA because guess what? It had a great chip and they were buying it, and it panned out to be a great event for everybody, right? For those who bought in at the top after they split it, you know what? The stock is down from 140 down to 118 now. So it's kind of sold off on after the split and the company. I forgot the numbers what it was, but now it's 118. All right, so you buy it and then you sell it after the big run. You're supposed to be taking money off the table, and that's what William's been talking about. They're rotating out of these big names. Apple's down today, that one's down today, and they're buying all these crazy weird stocks. All right, so again, That's what we look at. I go back to GameStop, the slow march up, the slow march down. This is not how shorts, when shorts get nervous, they panic and you can see it coming. The stock squirts up $1, $2 real quick. Those are shorts covering. The slow march up is longs on top of longs. It's the greatest pattern you can have. But again, it's longs versus longs. You need more longs to keep marching it up, more money to do it. All right. At some point, the valuation of the company, because the company is trading based on fundamental value now, the short squeeze has been covered. And that's how I look at that name. Again, you can play it, you can buy the dip. Obviously, the retail investors, every time it dips, when there's a sell-off, buy it, and they march it back up and sell it back to them. And you can make more money doing it that way. All right. And if you want, when you do make a profit on it, you can take the profit and go buy the 35 calls, and you can still be involved the whole time if you really think it's going to go. All right. I have no knowledge of a short squeeze pending in this name anymore. I just don't feel it. Anything else, William? Any questions?
MVP Chairs tells you to get with Ace. This guy emailed the info you need to get to Patrick Byrne. I know you can already get to Patrick Byrne anyway,
Right.
so I don't know. You must know there might be information you need, which he wants to get. I don't know. That's his message to you.
Ace wants to give me information to get the Patrick
No,
Byrne. Ace,
MVP Chair emailed information to Ace,
okay, I'll
which
get it. Okay.
you need to get to Patrick Byrne. I don't know what else it means.
All right. As soon as he gets it to me, I'll get it to Patrick Byrne.
So apparently Created is going to ask for another reverse split. I didn't see it. I just looked it up. I can't confirm
Again?
it. That's what Thomas is saying.
Impossible. There is no stock in the company.
If you don't,
There is no stock in the company. I think it's 300,000 shares.
well, I can look
How
at
do
it.
I know that? Because my friend owns most of it. He's the one that bought it up to $9 recently when it was squeezing. You know, I told him he was nuts, but he said he was buying it, and he was the one that bought it up to $9. That's all I know. I stopped looking at it a while ago. He did put out a naked short selling white paper, I think. I started
No, he
reading
just,
it.
I guess on July 16th, they put out a letter to shareholders.
There's 300,000 shares left in the whole company. I think when DJT goes black today, I think it can run, you know, you got to remember, he's speaking Thursday. There's an event coming up Thursday. Hold on, let's look at the options for Friday. Let me look. And this is the best part. There's 70 cents. That may not be a bad play.
It's
You know,
too
the
bad
39.
he had to learn it by doing it instead of listening. But anyway, it looks like he's finally understands what goes on.
Listen, the one thing I can tell you is Trump is about money. And he knows there's GameStop money on the table. Devin Nunes is calling it for an investigation. All right. Trump has a lot of shit on his plate right now, from getting shot in the head to everything else he's doing. But I think his world has slowed down because of, you know, the attempt it failed. And I think that he doesn't have to worry about winning an election anymore. I think it's over with. I think everyone has got on board with that and said enough of this nonsense, and it's over with. So again, we just want to get the country back on track, get everybody safe, move forward, and stop this nonsense. I'm not a political guy. I'm here to buy stock, make money, spend it, and have a good life. I'm not here to sit here cheering on politicians all day, Democrat, Republicans. As far as I care, they can all go fall in the ocean. You know, I don't care, but I'm here about, we need a leader that's going to keep everybody in check, and that's it. And right now, everybody's running amok on one side, and we need to stop it. That's it. That's how I see it.
Jewelry Affairs says hi to me. She says many people on X call me and him fraudsters. Please tell us it's not true. I'm not going to defend myself.
I'm a fraud. Put me in jail. I have nothing better. It'd be easier to go to jail than to do this. The people that call us frauds, guess what they are? Frauds. What's the woman's name? I forgot her name.
Jewelry Affairs.
Jewelry Affairs.
It's a long-term, it has been.
It's okay. Listen, Jewelry Affairs, if you've been here long term, I think you've seen the truck and William in front of the SEC. Those are the police, Julia Affairs. Is that right? We called the police. I put the truck out there 15 times. One time that was funded by the shareholders because I couldn't afford it anymore. So I paid 14 times. 15 times was the shareholder. We put it in front of the SEC Enforcement Conference, Julia Affairs. So the people saying this stuff, we welcome, and we've called them and offered to meet them down at the police all those times. Now, if we were the fraudsters, Julia Affairs, would we call the police? Did the people that robbed the banks, do they go to the police station and hang out? No, we do. The Kramers, Alpine, they destroyed GTII. We exposed them. They all got busted, and yet no one's doing anything about it. We can't do anything about it. We said we weren't the police. Finger motion, we know point blank it's Jeff Easton and his buddies doing this stuff, all right? They destroyed many companies. How are we fraudsters for exposing Jeff Easton? I've never called you up. I don't even know who you are or hit a button to tell you to buy a stock. I gave you my opinion. And William's giving you his opinion based on our history and our trading abilities about what we see and what we believe is a great opportunity. You don't have to buy it. I didn't tell you to buy it. So the people calling us fraudsters are bashers. They're paid bashers. I could do this all day long. Elon Musk is a fraud. This guy's a fraud. I could be Hindenburg. I could be Capybara. You can do it. Go on Twitter and you could say anything you like. If you choose to believe that we're bashers, then I feel bad for you, and I hope you find yourself in a better place, and you shouldn't really listen to us then. I'm not trying to chase you away, but we're not here. I'm not trying to get anyone to do anything they don't want to do. We're just trying to educate you about the biggest fraud in U.S. history. And if you go back before I got kicked off all these times on Twitter, if I was a paid scam artist, do you think I keep coming back at this stuff, or I just disappear?
Well,
what did she say about that?
I don't know what she said, but I would just say when someone accuses me of being a fraudster, what's the fraud? Tell me what the fraud is. I would also submit to you that they themselves are committing fraud by spreading, trying to get the stock. They're just hit and run artists. They want you to sell your stock down 50 cents, 5 cents, 10% so they can hit and run and go to the bar that night with $1,000 in their pocket. And they don't have to put up any capital. That's all it is. But anyway, Jewelry, I don't consider myself a fraud. I'm frustrated by all of this. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm thankful that you have tried to educate yourself. But if you find me a fraud, please, if you want,
sign off.
There's other, there's Roaring Kitty. There's you can follow the people that are calling me a fraud. Just follow them on Twitter. They give very informed information. They have great ideas for you. My suggestion, if you do that, try to align yourself with a market maker so you can yourself take advantage illegally of the market maker exemption of Reg Show. But once you do that, follow them.
All right, William, give it. Next, right. Listen, this is Susan Trimbath, who I met in 2006. I think I met her. She posted today, in case I did not make this clear before now, a 1963 SEC report to Congress explains exactly what happens with the money you pay your broker when they fail to receive your shares at trade settlement, and that you get a phantom share in your brokerage account. This is from 1963, William. I will repost it again for people out here. I'll just put 1963. You and your parents, I'll make that, your parents were robbed.
All right,
Now-
in 1 hour, Richard's going to do a call on GTII. I tried to invite myself on it. He said no. He'll be there taking the abuse all by himself. But
So I just retweeted William. If you can go on and look at, I just put it up. I said 1963. That's all I put up. 1963. I said your parents were robbed. Now it's you. Read about naked short seller. And you can see.
what do you think? What do you think the trigger price or the average short price in DJT might be?
$54. It could be a little lower now.
54.
Probably it could be low, somewhere between 52 and 54 and a half, somewhere like that. And I'll tell you exactly, if you give me a second, William. Give me 1 second. Let me look for this photo. Unfortunately, I can't see it. I posted it before. Finger motion was 473. Here it is. Nope, that's not it. Oh, here it is. It was 54.49. I think it was 473, and that was 3 months ago. So those numbers of DJT has been trading between 25 and 40. So that number's come down, let's say to 51, 52. And finger, I heard it's down to 410. So the numbers come down. That's the average price on all the naked shorts they've sold. They call it the squeeze trigger number. As Patrick Byrne posted, we the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to be overthrown by the Constitution, but to be overthrown by men who would pervert the Constitution. Patrick Byrne is a guy that's fighting for the country. And people, you know what? If that one Judy, whatever the hell her name is, if she wants to go back in time, go to Deep Capture and watch the Deep Capture movie when they used to call Pat Byrne every name under the sun. And here's Pat Byrne now saving the United States. That's a good man. So me and William, I consider us good people also. But you know what? We take the shit because guess what? We didn't make your money. That's what you're pissed about, that we didn't make your money. And trust me, I got it.
The whole problem with that argument is that the stock market is risk reward. If you go to the bank, it used to be anyway, you're not taking risk. Anyway, I'm going to move off that. Soonerman.
People get mad because we don't make the money. I'm here fighting because if we can't stop this, you'll never make a dime.
Soonerman, if you are trading GTII, based on what I just read, it might be difficult, but please use limit orders. Please use limit orders because right now you got a bid on it of zero.
It's a gray market. They'll rob you blind. So
yeah, just use limit orders and be stubborn about it. Don't be in a hurry. I'm down 90% on GTI. Great buying price now. Use limit orders.
Listen to Richard. Listen, don't buy anything till you listen to Richard. Get the update.
It's in 1 hour, 3 o'clock.
Get the update.
He's doing a live. Richard Hoffman.
I can't advise you. If you got fuck you money, then you could take a shot.
I wouldn't buy it. There's better things to buy.
If you're on the end of your rope, you can't do it.
There's better things to buy right now. Right. If you're doing what's called dollar cost averaging, okay, that's a strategy. But anyway, let's move on. Do you believe hedge funds are going to gap DJT?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't own it. I told you I don't own it. I don't have the money to buy it.
This is an interesting question. I can't believe this happens, but Vin is asking, as these trades happen, can the hedge funds be buying real shares, selling us fake shares? I don't think there's any distinction out there, but maybe you know better.
Say that again?
Can a guy like Ken Griffin target, using his data, the purchase of real shares while they sell us fake shares? To me, it's just all one big blob. No one
I don't
knows.
understand what that means, but when they sell a counterfeit share,
I
the
paraphrased it. I
The
paraphrased it.
gentleman that was just talking,
That's
whatever his name
been,
is,
yeah.
if he buys 1,000 shares, he has no idea if he's got a real share or a naked shorted share, correct? No one knows. Let's say he did buy a naked shorted share from Lynn Partners. He's now long, which he believes is a real share. Tomorrow he wants to sell it because the stock's up $1. He sells it. He basically sold his counterfeit share back into the system. So now everybody's the counterfeiter. Do you understand? The whole system is a mess.
That's my
We need to-
opinion. That's my opinion.
We need to
Yeah.
separate it. We need to get the yellow marker and tell everybody what's real and what's fake.
And they
We
don't
can't
want to
tell.
do
No one
that.
can tell.
I
So
I will
the
refer.
only way, let me finish. The only way to tell if we're not going to get a yellow marker and see who's got a real and who doesn't is a dividend, because then you stop the music. Everyone needs a seat. If you don't have a certificate as your seat, then you own a counterfeit shares. That's why the special dividend is being done. Okay. The brokerage firms, because they know we're trapping them, they just go out and make it up. They give everyone a journal entry IOU and they say, we owe you. And now there's more shit in the system. But all this does is just creates a bigger mess for the brokerage community. And a company like Finger, which has the fundamentals to move higher, it really will torture them at one point. GTII, I know people, when the company was giving out their dividend at 275 way back when, the stock went to 9. The brokerage firms told people if they were to exercise and pay the company to 275 and they got stock, they would not accept it back into their account. So people did not exercise their warrants because they couldn't get the stock back in the system. Imagine paying for 10,000 shares at 275 and you cannot put it back in the system when the stock is 9. The reason they wouldn't let people do it or discourage people from doing it is because they had no dividends to give people. So they had to discourage people from exercising them. And how do I know that? Because I know many people that wanted to, and we couldn't get it done. So that's the story on that. So the brokerage community is part of the crime, covering up for the criminals. Anything else, William?
I reposted something from Suzanne Trimbath.
Did you read that? Did you see that, what she wrote?
Yeah, I saw that, but I reposted something else from 20 hours ago, and it's something I've asked before. And here's her question. What if short sales were not counted in the ranking of global stock exchanges? U.S. exchanges value traded would fall by at least 50%.
So it's all fluffed up, all the numbers, all make believe.
That's the biggest reason I don't think they want to fix it, because our standing in the world is a lie on financial markets. Anyway.
And again, she posted, there's a report from the SEC to Congress, 1963. Okay, that's about the time most of us were born. Okay, and here it is. They were stealing from my parents. Now they're stealing from me, and they want to continue stealing from my kids and my grandkids. And everyone on this phone who's pissed off and angry, There's your story. Don't get mad at us. We didn't create this whole thing. It's right there.
Well,
And they're gonna rob you. And they listen, William, hush. They're gonna rob everybody, and let's just stand up and say something. All right. I didn't steal your money. These guys are doing it. It's right here. Anything else?
it doesn't look like it. GTI is frozen at 8 cents.
I got that. You gotta let Richard talk about it.
He's going to be on at 3 o'clock.
People don't even respect the guy. He's an attorney giving his time, helping out shareholders, fighting to get rid of management. Think about that for free. And people are mad at him. My friend Optimus says, "Oh, Richard's just going to keep talking the stock down. He doesn't, he's like, again," and he talks to him. That's the mentality. He's a great shareholder. But what more can Richard do? He's just doing what he has to do. And thank God he's around to do it. Because if Richard wasn't here, I would shrug my shoulders because I don't know what to do. I'm not an attorney. I know nothing about it. And if you think that we didn't do anything, go back and look at the pictures of the truck at the SEC. And for those who don't know, the SEC is the head of enforcement of the equity markets. We went to the Secret Service. The shareholders that are on this call that introduced me to the Secret Service. And Ace knows that. Okay? People introduce me to the Secret Service. That is a fact. What they do, what they don't do, I have no control over it. The FBI was introduced by other shareholders. I went to the FBI twice from 2 groups of people. I met with them. I've spoken to people at the FBI that are long MMTLP and FNGR. I can't tell you what office they're in, but they're all here too, and they all understand it. What else can we do? No one else has any bright ideas. I dial you up. You want to listen to the call? Listen to the call. This is what it is. How do stocks have selling every day, every penny, always a seller? It's remarkable. I talked about finger motion, DJT. President Trump is going to speak on Thursday night. Today's Wednesday, correct, William?
Today is Wednesday.
So these guys are shorting a stock that the President of the United States, who was almost assassinated, they shorted it before. Everybody knows about it. Johnny Tobacco made a big stink about it last night. Everyone I know sent it to reporters. I sent it to the editor of a newspaper that someone that I know just got hired as the editor for the election to a major newspaper. I sent it to her. I gave her the scoop last night. And you know what? Let them all talk about it. Someone's going to report on it. It's right there. And for those who don't know, back in 2001 on 9/11, people were buying and shorting the airline stocks before they crashed into the buildings. So people do know about these things. Terrorists do know about these things. People know about it. It's right there. All right. I posted that too. Okay. That's not, I'm not reporting on the stock. I'm showing you about a terrorist action against the United States, against everyone on their phones, their families, their friends, everyone's way of life. And they tried to kill the next president of the United States, and they tried to kill his stock. And just like Johnny Tobacco says, these guys were making a bet that this guy wasn't going to make it till Monday. How's that? And as we speak, they print 100 shares of Finger or whatever the hell they printed at 212 again. Hurry up, make it down a penny on the day. They're here to fuck with you. Grow up already, people. These guys are criminals. I like to put them in your house and tell me how you're going to treat them when they stand in front of you. Say, hey, Mr. Judy, we're here to steal your $2,000 today. Fuck you. Oh my God, William and Ham are just disgusting people. Yeah, fuck you. We're Lynn partners. We're going to fucking take all your money from you. That's what we're trying to stop. You got a problem? Call Lynn Partners and call the FBI and them. Start there. I gave you the criminals. It's called whistleblowing. We did it. Any other questions before I get aggravated listening to nonsense again?
NSA wants to know why you're so confident that Patrick Byrne will go after Finger DJT
Because he
shorts.
fucking said it. Listen to the recording. listen to the recording. I didn't say it. Pat Byrne said it to us. You want me to play it for you? Hold on a second.
Play it.
Don't
Yeah,
say
play
anything.
it.
Don't
play
say
it.
anything, William. I'm going to play it so you can
Okay.
fucking hear it.
All right. He'd
Jesus,
like that.
Go
NSA
pick
would
up
like
your house
that.
and teacher. Here you go. Hold on a second. Hold on. Where's Patrick? Here you go. There you go. All right.
I did not vote for 45 either time. We're allies shoulder to shoulder now, and if that gentleman gets back into power, I suspect that I'm going to have the opportunity to have a voice in a new administration, and I'm going to tell them the first thing we have to fix in our hospital is that place where we're holding the babies and they're trying to make that place is full of a bunch of bad guys. We got to clean it up. Like, the first thing we have to fix in our country, besides at this point elections, is stock settlement. So in 18 months, and like Liberal, I've been told that if he's back in, people are going to listen to me. And all I want to talk about is stock settlement. So if you can just hang on for 18 months, the one thing I want to do with I'll close on this one, other than sit on a farm with animals. I don't want to do anything the rest of my life other than sit on a farm with animals, with one exception. And that is if Donald Trump gets back in power. I'm not saying that I don't want to be too political. I'm acknowledging I didn't vote for him at the time. If he gets back in power, I'm going to raise my hand to say, let me come in and we're going to fix this one issue in America. And so.
Well, I think that pretty much tells you that is either a Pat Byrne guy with a voice like Pat Byrne or Pat Byrne. And he told you he's going to get back in. When he gets back in, he wants to fix one thing. It's called stock settlement. Stock settlement eliminates naked short selling, period. Does that answer your question?
I think that's good. That's
But did it come in clear? It's all over Twitter. I can repost that also from Pat Byrne. And if you don't know who Pat Byrne is, I can repost Pat Byrne's The Deep Capture movie. If you go to Deep Capture, Patrick Byrne put his own people together and exposed the Dominion voting machines. He exposed the fraud with his own programmers. And that's what Donald Trump is rewarding him for. And he said before he leaves this place, he wants to fix stock settlement. There you go. So we have 82 trading days. I took away the weekends and holidays. It's 82 trading days. At 4 o'clock, I'll change the number to 81. Okay, that's 81 days to the presidential election. Once Trump wins, once they get in power, that's when this shit's gonna hit the fan. So these guys want to keep playing the game. Good luck. The end is coming. That's all I can tell you. The end is coming. Pat Byrne, go to Deep Capture. Go watch his movie. I put it up there 20 times. Meet Pat Byrne. He will decapitate them. He hates the shorts, Pat Byrne. Now you got me aggravated. I'm going to go find Deep Capture the movie. Hold on a second. Deep Capture story. Give me a second. I put up Pat Byrne, worked years. Read his book, The Deep Rig, R-I-G. Go read it. You can click to buy it on Amazon. You can click here to buy it on AERO. You can read his book, The Deep Rig, How Election Fraud Forced Donald Trump to the White House by a man who did not vote for him. It's right there. You can read it online. This guy will wipe out the shorts because that's what he's about. Hold on a second, the movie, Deep Capture. Hold on a second. Where is it? Give me 1 second, William. I don't know why I can't find it. Hey. Patrick Byrne had so much stuff here. He meshed in the political stuff with the naked short selling stuff, and you know, how naked short sellers and CNBC bamboozled the SEC. There's so much here. I mean, JP Morgan CEO's crazy, time to subpoena CNBC. I mean, he's went after everyone. If you think he's going to let all these people who he wasted years of his life fighting naked shorts, you're out of your bird. Out of your bird. This guy is 100 times smarter than me. He came into the game after me, and I just found a whole bunch of stuff. I'm trying to read this stuff quickly as I go through it. But Chris Cox, Bear Stearns, and naked shorting, April 3rd, 2008. You know, I'm just saying that there's so much stuff here that you need to go through it and just learn who Patrick Byrne is in his writings. He wrote most of this stuff. I'm going to put something about this one. It's right here on Deep Capture. Chris Cox, Bear Stearns. I can't find the stupid movie. I don't know what happened to it. But I posted it, Deep Capture the movie, and you can see Pat Byrne talking about it. He was the most hated man on Wall Street because he was exposing the fraud. And he was doing it because Patrick Byrne's father owned Geico. I think people know what Geico Insurance is, sold it to Warren Buffett. So Patrick Byrne was brought up with Warren Buffett. They all know each other. Warren Buffett, Pat Byrne, his dad, they all work together. That's where he grew up. He'll tell you right then and there. And it's Deep Capture the movie. I'm just trying to find it again. I can't find it. And I did post on 23 hours ago, the GTI people. Yeah, I'll repost them for Judy in the sky here. GTII. I put the picture of it in front of the White House, or the Capitol. Here's in front of the GTII, in front of the Southern District. In case anyone thinks that we didn't try to call the police. This is where they put people in jail, the Southern District. Another picture. I put it to it yesterday. I mean, what more can I do? Southern District, GTI, I posted it up again, and it says Global Tech Industries, investors say enough to SEC. That was in front of the Southern District in New York City. I think I did a lot. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off financially, but I have no control of it. If the government didn't think there was something wrong in GTII, they showed us the proof. They showed us everything. Now, if they just enforce it, and Pat Byrne's coming to say he's coming to enforce it. I put up Savvy Management. He was partners with Lynn Partners. Here you go. The story of Deep Capture. There, I found it. There you go. May 4th, 2008. So for those people listening, watch, meet Patrick Byrne. On Twitter, I just posted up the story of Deep Capture, where they had a flying saucer above his head and they were telling him he was crazy. He was making believe all this stuff. And if you look at Patrick Byrne, look what he wind up becoming, helping out the U.S. government, the President of the United States, expose the election fraud. That's where Patrick Byrne came from. He came from naked short selling, starting Overstock.com, fighting naked shorts, and winding up here. How's that one? And look what he's done. Who else did they try to get rid of? Elon Musk, right? Go back to 2013. The New York Times wrote fake stories about him. If he didn't fight back, Elon Musk, he would have been wiped out. Now look at him, the most powerful man in the world. Right?
Mm-hmm.
These are people that fought fought back. All right? This isn't the Roaring Kitty hotline. I don't make shit up. All right? This is real stuff. You don't want to hear it? I can't help you. You want to go trade? Go buy NVIDIA, go buy Tesla, knock yourself out. Go back and forth all day long. Get back to me, tell me how well you do. And I would never buy a small cap stock unless someone is telling you what the hell's going on. Go tell it to the poor people in KNW. The CEO signed a deal with Jeff Easton. The stock went from 90 cents to 40 cents already. GMGI is their next victim. 270. Golden Matrix Group. Yeah, Lynn Partners is going to exercise their position when it gets up 130 something percent from 250. Yeah, sure. They want you to come in. The reason they're doing it is they want you to come in and buy it. They want you to come in and buy it. And this way they can get short before they murder you. Up 133%. Well, they're bragging about those numbers, so they lure people in to buy the stock. How come they just don't say, we gave the company money, and just take a look at it from that point? They don't say anything. Right? Any other questions, William?
No, there aren't any.
No one has anything to say? There's 1,000 stocks in the stock market. No one has anything to say.
Well, the gentleman who talked about the reverse stock split in CRT received an email today to vote on it. So I guess it's real.
That guy's insane if he's doing that. There's no stock in the company. Listen, there's 82 days until the election. Patrick Byrne is going to rip them apart. Absolutely going to rip them apart.
Do you know anything about the insider selling in GTII?
No, it's been on the tape for a long time. Richard told him to stop selling, and I don't know where it stood with that. You can ask Richard. That's a good question for Richard.
GTII is down. What is going on with all the insiders selling?
The insider selling's been going on for a while. It's been on the tape. Richard can address it. 3:30 or 3 o'clock today, Richard Hoffman will be live. You can ask him all the questions alike. He's representing major shareholders down a lot of money that want to remove management. Richard Hoffman is nice enough to take a position from his time and to do this stuff for us all. For all of us, excuse us.
Frank is telling me I'm a criminal and I should be behind bars, just like.
Tell Frank to show up with his big mouth, and I'll meet him in front of the SEC, wherever Frank is. Big mouth.
Yeah.
Tell Frank to go fuck himself. Hang up on that guy. Get out of here. Next.
This is a good question. I was going to look it up. You won't know it, so I'll just write it down for later. But in case you do you know what rule SEC 15C2.11 is? I don't.
It's some sort of I forgot.
It's about these reporting of trades and all that. I'll look it up, but let's skip it.
I've heard of it before. 15C211.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. I'm not an attorney. I don't know.
I mean, I can look at, but let's just go through. All right, so
listen, the SEC, if there's something wrong, they're the police. They need to step in. We're not the police. What are we supposed to do? We reported the crime. If there's no problem, the SEC should have shut down GTI a long time ago. But then they put the proof up. We didn't put the proof up from the DTC. The SEC, they did, not us. It's right there from the court document. I'm not part of that court case. What the hell do I got to do with it? We're looking at the information as we see it. It's right there.
Can they claw back all the money that's been stolen? I don't think so. I think we'll be lucky if they just change the rules and or enforce the rules and we have a short squeeze. But let's
And
just,
what stock are they talking about?
he's talking about all stocks, all hedge funds.
These guys have been, listen, people, whenever anyone's ever been to the Caribbean before, when you go to the Caribbean, I remember walking along the docks one time with my family. I would say, "Oh my God, look at all these boats! All these boats, these yachts and yachts, all registered, all in the Cayman Islands, all these crazy places." That's all the money is stolen. That's where Alpine was in the Caymans. They're all running their money through these islands. That's what they're doing offshore. They got their accounts there. They're doing it from offshore. The SEC knows all about it and has allowed it to go on. We're trying to stop all this. All the crime stops on naked shorting, the counterfeiting the shares, if they settle the trades. It's over with. The whole scam ends in one day. I just posted from Susan Tribant. I reposted it. 1963, the SEC's letter to Congress. I thought it started in 1988. It's 63 now. Think about that. 63. So there's people on this phone that are 40 years old. They stole from their father, and now they're stealing from you. Then they're going to steal from your kids and your grandkids. That's what I'm fighting about. And the people that open their mouth and say stupid things, fuck you. I hope your fucking family gets robbed blind. How's that? Go fuck yourself.
So
And don't you dare say shit. We're fighting here to save your family. Go fuck yourself. We didn't steal your money. Go fuck yourself. And William, you should never address these people. They're a disgrace. The crime is right in front of them. They know about it. DJT, GameStop, AMC, everybody's fucking yelling. And because the stocks didn't go up, it's our problem. Get the fuck out of here.
If Patrick Byrne gets in, why do you think he'll specifically go after finger shorts?
Because I know Patrick Byrne. If Patrick Byrne wants proof, and I will give him 5 years of documented proof, and I know Patrick Byrne very well. Very well. Patrick Byrne's not going to go after naked short selling flimsy. Hey, I got this stock, KOSS. What's going on with it? I don't know. Short. Okay, great. Does anyone follow it? No. I have all the data, all the proof on finger motion, from toxic lender to short sales, everything. I have all the information. And that's what friends do. He's gonna win it for everybody. Don't get me wrong. It's not just DJT and finger motion. He's gonna go after everybody. But I'm getting our ass to the front of the pile. We did our time. We did the work. Anything else? Because I'm tired of listening to people that are casting stones. I hope their families all get robbed. All.
This gentleman's been buying the February $6 calls for finger. Do you think that's?
You want to know something? I hope he's paying a nickel or a dime for them. I don't know what is possibly trading it.
My service doesn't really.
What does he say? Ask him. What
I don't know. We'll find out what he's paying. Thank you, Develop Freedom. Yeah, the short vixen points out to all the questions. GTII was behind on reporting financial statements. They missed their deadline, so they're now on what's called the expert. It's a newly created thing in June, the expert exchange. As far as I can tell, it's set up so that the good clients can cross stock at whatever they want. They don't have to report it. I think it's another way of stealing. but it's been approved. It's called the expert market.
When was it approved?
It says June this year. I've got to study it. I just did it on the fly here. All right, so his grace period yesterday, they got the notice on July 1, according to Short Vixen, and they needed to report their financials or be relegated to the expert market,
So wait a minute. So you
where she says retail is position close only. So I didn't know that.
I spoke with Richard about this whole thing. And I said, Richard, could it be possible, since you're in a court of law going against management, that they delayed the financials because they don't want to misrepresent anything? And he said it could be. He doesn't know. You know, maybe if the company were to say something in their financials or report it wrong, it would only dig a hole for them. So maybe they're waiting till what happens in the court proceedings, which Richard believes is going to get hot and heavy next week. So let's wait till next week.
So Charlie's been buying $4, $5, $6 calls, all of them in February.
Charlie, the way to do it, I 100% agree with you. If I was playing the games right now, I'd be trading other names. And as I make profit, whether it make a dime, a quarter, 20 cents, I'd be doing it. And I would be doing exactly what you just said, buying all the cheap calls I could possibly get with profit from other trades. Okay, if I make $100, spend 75, keep 25 profit in your bank. All right, whatever the numbers are, just roll them up, roll them down, whatever it is. And you take what you're doing, you're building a cheap position for nothing. I always believe in buying them when they don't want them. Those are crapshoot options. And the crapshoot options, if you did it in GameStop, you're rich as hell these days. And I agree with you 1,000% because that's exactly what I would be doing, accumulating out of the money calls. And when the stock takes a quick run to 4, every one of those options will double and triple, which case you could sell half of them and have a free shot for as long as they live, those options. And that's the way you would play it. So if you own 300 of them, you sell 150, you put the money in your pocket, you're free on the rest, and you don't look back. If it continues to go, you get rich doing nothing. That's how I would play.
The only thing I would add, which Ham has pointed out before many times, at $2, finger is a call option.
Well, listen, if you can buy options at $5, okay, versus spending 5 cents versus $2, it's worth the shot. You got to remember, each option represents 100 shares of stock.
All right, this guy is asking if we're only focused on finger DJT GTII. He's in CRT.
No, I follow IBM, Microsoft, Amazon. I follow Tesla. I follow NVIDIA. I follow Merck sometimes, not all the times. I do follow Costco. What other names do you want me to follow? I don't talk about them because it's very complex, and I'm not here to teach everybody every gory detail about trading and how to make money. I deal with hedge funds that are involved in different names, and we talk about those. Yes, I do follow different names.
Did you watch Patrick Byrne on the Roseanne Barr podcast?
No.
He told his stories. So that's something people can do.
I posted it again. He tells you the story.
Yeah.
He said he bumped into a group of people that were running around about naked short selling. Guess who that was? Me and my fucking friends. That was me. That's my sign from 2006 in Times Square. Wall Street Court counterfeiting. I put it up. My friend passed away. I've been doing this a long time. And these people are crooks. Okay? And I lost a lot of money in a lot of years of my life. And I hate it. But I'm not letting this guy get away. Jeff Easton is not getting away. The Kramers and Alpine have already been busted. The DOJ needs to lock them up. Not me. I can't do it. I don't have a gun and badge. They should belong in jail. From Charlie Mayo, the Kramer brothers, and everyone in their office, including the lawyer, the guy Nadich. They're a bunch of criminals. They should be locked up. I can't do it. These guys need to be locked up. Where's the DOJ? We reported. We whistleblowed. I even put it up there. Pay William for whistleblowing.
If you have another ticker symbol, go ahead and give it to me. I'll give it to him.
Listen, I don't want to get involved in other naked short selling fights. I can't. The companies I tried to help the CEO run. My friends are working with Devin Nunes on DJT, very close to that one. All right. People that want help, I tried to help MULN back in the day. He didn't do it. He waited. He reversed the stock twice. He slaughtered everybody. Then he jumped into the fight. Too late. Okay. That I can't tell you how many times I spoke with that guy at GNS. He did the reverse. He raised money. He fucked everybody, and good luck. He moved on. That's what companies do. They raise money. GameStop, what did he do? The shorts were getting crushed. I think the SEC told that guy, Brian Cohen, sell the stock. He sold 120 million shares to the street. He covered the shorts. The investors still believe that there's more short squeeze to the name. Good luck. I don't believe there is. That's it. I hate the shorts. For me to tell you that I don't believe there's more short squeeze in GameStop, I think the shorts have quit. And you guys still believe it? Good luck. Do it. I could care less. Do what you got to do. So I believe that you can take advantage of all the longs trying to pump it up all day, which is what they're allowed to do it. Everywhere I turn, everybody, you got to buy GameStop. And I ask them why. They go, well, roaring kitty. I says, okay, well, good luck. And that tells me that you should buy the dip, sell the rip, and you can make yourself 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, $1 a day. Going in, going out, going in, going out. Let them spike it up. When it pulls back down, you start buying it back. When they spike it up again, you sell it to them. That's it. I believe DJT has got the most powerful man in the world, and he's going to be the president of the United States, and Patrick Byrne is going to come in here and smoke the short sellers. That's it. Got 82 days. After 4 o'clock, I'll knock the number down to 81. Yeah, I sound like we're the type of guys that are posting, working our ass off for nothing. We're doing this because we just we don't want to help you. Sure, yeah, just hang up the phone. You don't have to be here. I don't care if I'm talking to William. I don't need anybody. I had 15,000 people that kicked me off of Twitter. I think I got 600 people now. I don't really care. Who cares? I'm not here to pump a stock and move it. If you want to play, the way I told you to do is accumulate it. You buy half, you bid for half. Buy half, bid for half. I'm not asking you to hurry up, go buy 100,000 shares and drive the stock to $4 so that we can sell it to you. That's not what it's about. They're short 230 million shares plus 1.7 million real shorts. Don't worry about it. When they fold, this stock will be plenty high. You don't want to buy it? Don't buy it. I don't give a shit. Listen, anybody wants to play this game, I've been doing it a long time. I've been attacked from the Raging Bull everywhere. I don't give a flying shit. I got nowhere to go. I'm here and I'm staying here. That's it. Just the way it goes. I promise you I'm going to do whatever I have to do. I did it. I did it. Finger motion, GTII. We got busted the Kramers. We busted their prime broker. You got the proof from the government. What else you want me to do? I can't lock them up. It's all there. Well, this all happened. If the CEO fucked up, Richard Hoffman's going to throw him out. Who's doing it? My friends with 30 million shares that paid north of $1. So if anyone thinks they're down money, these guys are down north of $30 million plus. We did it. We exposed the criminals. How the SEC hasn't locked them up yet, that's a different story. I don't know why. Lynn Partners is an unregistered toxic lending scumbag motherfucker. He shorts, he smiles, he laughs. Rich, what's the guy? Philip Lavalier. He's always proud. We're doing a deal with you. Sure, he's proud because they're going to steal your money. That's what they're proud about. His trend in Australia is up 220% in the Lynn Partners Fund. Everyone else is down 220%. How the fuck does that happen? Every stock they invest in goes straight down, yet they're rich. How come no one addressed that? All the people that are on the call, how come they never say that? Why don't the people go in GTI, go to the Kramer's house in Long Island? Go see his house. They put it under his father's name. Go see what property they have. Go look at it. Go see what they're driving around with. Go get it. Go knock yourself out. William, stop addressing morons. I can't help it.
Can I stop listening to them too?
Listen, there's nothing to say. Call a cop. There's nothing I can do. We've called the cop more times than they'll ever call a cop. Trust me. We used to call up in GTI, for those who just popped in for the last year or two, we used to call every day at 12 o'clock. Hundreds of calls at 12 o'clock, GTII calls. We orchestrated that every day. Call the cops. Let's all call at 12 o'clock. Everybody rang the phones at the same time. I know you guys don't go back that far, but we did it. We put a truck outside their steakhouse where they ate dinner. We put a truck outside their breakfast place, the Kitchen Witch. I think it's called that, something like that in Long Island. Every day we put a truck with their names, their faces, everything on it. And the people have the balls to say, oh, we're scammers. We've been here for 5 fucking years talking. Anyway, beautiful outside. I don't give a fuck about any idiots that keep yapping. Call a cop. I could kill us. And you should stop. Get off the fucking YouTube. These people don't deserve to listen to educated people talk about the equity markets. They want to make money. Go buy IBM. Hey, listen, if you buy IBM and it goes down, does your broker pay you back? Do you call the CEO a scumbag? Do you call anybody you saw posting anything positive about IBM or Apple? Apple's down $5 today. When did you bought it yesterday? Who are you going to call up? You go to the Apple store. Hey, but your stock went down today. What the fuck you doing? Do something about it. No one pays it back. Once you invest in the stock market, it's on you. We're telling you that it's a complete fraud. We're doing everything in our power to expose the crooks. Guess what we did? We exposed the crooks. That's as much power as we have. We don't have a gun and a badge. If we had a gun and a badge, trust me, it'd be over with already. And William, I'll leave you with this one. I drilled another poor woman today with a pickleball, nice and hard. I gave her a nice tattoo. Another in pickleball, people, the tennis
I don't
players,
support that behavior.
you know, they're coming over. The pickleball people coming over. The women are all tennis players. They're very good. They all got those nice shots, nice tennis, nice tennis swings, but they don't know how to handle the speed. So I kind of speed it up on them. That stops them in their track real quick. And they did say, do we have anger issues? I said, yeah, at least I'm honest about it. Anyway, listen, people, I'm sorry for the yelling and the yapping, whatever I'm doing. But again, I just tell you what I believe. You don't have to believe it. You want to go buy AMC, they're selling popcorn, knock yourself out. No one's ever addressed who bought the 120 million shares in GameStop. I believe in information. And I don't get any information from anybody on hard questions. When I ask a question, and I'm not trying to stump anybody or stop the upside. I hope everybody makes a lot of money. But in GameStop, the company sold 120 million shares. If anyone can tell me who bought it, I would love to hear it. But not one person's ever. I addressed it 60,000 times. And for people that don't believe me, DJT, Johnny Tobacco put up yesterday the short positions. They doubled in the few days before the assassination attempt. Who shorted it? Did they buy puts? I can't see I couldn't see the old trades. Who bought the puts? Someone needs to investigate it immediately. You want to find the Iranians? There you go. Maybe they were the ones that were shorting the stock. All right. So someone needs to get to the bottom of this stuff. They don't do anything because they know it's going to lead right back to the people that we all hate, whether it's Ken Griffin or the guy from GTS, RE, whatever that guy's name is. That they and these other market makers from GTS and Virtue and all these other guys. All right, William, I'm done.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, have a good day.
Stay cool.
Calvin.
All right. Richard Hoffman is going to come on in 15 minutes. Not on with me. He's on YouTube. Not legal advice, but I'll try to answer some of these questions. Ham didn't leave me much time. And as far as Jamie Dimon is concerned, my own opinion, I forget who asked the question up there. I think it's terrible. my boss, when I worked at what's now Morgan Stanley, he received a late night phone call from Jamie Dimon in Italy because, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. But he came in, at the bar, he was telling me about this phone call. And he was so impressed with Jamie Dimon. So there's that argument that really smart people think Dimon is America's banker. My problem with it is I think JP Morgan is the, I don't know what word to use. It is the nexus of manipulation of precious metals. It started with, I forget her name, Masters. Or I'm forgetting her name. I'm having a Biden moment. Blythe Masters, I think it is. Anyway, she started it, but and I'm not sure, to be fair to Jamie Dimon, I'm not sure that it was his idea, and it may be something that he just ended up acquiring in one of the mergers. But he hasn't done anything about it. So I'm not a big fan of that idea. It just is more of the same. I'd love to see a Secretary of the Treasury that came from somewhere outside of the New York banks. Maybe it came from, he or she came from, a regional bank or some part of the country that didn't go to Harvard or Yale and didn't work at Goldman Sachs first. So that's my reaction to Jamie Dimon. I'll be disappointed if that's who he selects. Look, the election's not over, and I think the battle that's going on is much bigger and more complex than what we're seeing on CNN and MSNBC and on The View. And I don't think it's over with. So let's just see who's president in 3 months. I have a feeling, by the way, that September is going to be a big inflection point and something may happen. I don't know what. I'm basing that a little bit on some of the people I read, but I hope not. So we're coming into a period of time where things are going to be different forever as far as my lifespan's concerned. We're going to be starting from scratch. All right. Let's look up the SEC 15C12. That should be easy to do. (15C11), sorry. This is to enhance. When you see words like enhance, you know it's written for you. It's to enhance retail investor protections. The SEC is on your side. And to modernize the rule governing quotations for over-the-counter securities. So you can rest assured that the SEC has adopted Rule 15C2-11 to protect you. That's good to know. It was announced in 2020. The amendments are designed to modernize the rule, which was last substantively amended 30 years ago, back when regulators were honest, back before Bill Clinton pushed forward self-regulating. These amendments, it enhances disclosure and investor protection. Hey, anytime the SEC says it enhances, you know things are going to get better for you. They ensure that broker-dealers in the role as professional gatekeepers for the OTC market do not publish quotations for an issuer's security when current issuer's information is not publicly available. You know, just like they make public how many shares have been sold into existence that don't exist, just like they make public the consolidated audit trail, just like they make public how many shares have not been delivered and for how long and by whom. They're on your side. They want you to have access to all information that you can make the best investment decision that you can. Quote, the amended rule represents another important step in our tireless and proactive efforts to protect retail investors from being victimized by microcap fraud, said Stephanie, the DEI hire, Avikayan, director of division enforcement. I don't know if she may be very talented. There's certainly no men over there more talented than she. Anyway, that's what Rule 15C. Let's just skip that. It's useless. All right, somebody else asked me on logic. I think that was PS 71. I don't know what's going on with logic. I just have to keep repeating myself. They Logic announced well over a year ago that a year and a half, that they were sponsored by Aubrey Advisors in a SPAC, and they were going to distribute Data Logic, create a new company, the SPAC and DSPAC, with the expertise and the good help of Aubrey Advisors. My opinion, Aubrey Advisors is just a front for the same criminal action that Yorkville is a front for, that Jeff Easton is a front for, that Kurt Kramer is a front for, and others, many, 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 many more. And the SEC does not protect retail. The SEC is there to protect the big funds because that's where they want to go get their jobs. They're there to protect the lawyers who mislead because that's where they want to go get their jobs. But welcome to Orwell's world. So anyway, Aubrey Advisors did a completely crap job with being the sponsors. They've been a sponsor of 100 SPACs, and they left Logic with no money, and then the stock got shorted to oblivion. Now, the company has been fighting back. The risk in Logic is if the CEO, who is Brett's son, listens to Aubrey Advisors, Logic will be destroyed because Aubrey Advisors, clearly in my view, is a front for massive short sellers like Polar. They destroyed CAUD. Now there's 2 board members from Aubrey Advisors on the board of CAUD. My understanding is these are good people. They keep their word. I think one's a man and one's a woman, so I can't say he or she, but people, they keep their word. They're as good as their word, and they're now doing at the market offerings for CAUD. And that's going to be a hamster wheel until somehow he can get that hamster wheel spinning so hard it spins out of the cage, out of the sand on the bottom of the cage, and somehow gets out in the driveway and goes on down the highway, but it's a tough task. Aubrey Advisors is a front for capital destroying actions of Polar Investments, in my judgment. And that's what they did. Logic got destroyed in the backwash. If Brent Sun listens to Aubrey Advisors, Logic will be destroyed. In my opinion, Brent Sun simply will not listen to Aubrey Advisors. How do I know? I believe on information and belief that he stood up to it. And he got shouted down, but he stood up to it. So in my opinion, Logic, under the leadership of Brent Sun, will not listen to the smiling faces at Aubrey Advisors. CAUD still is. So I really like Peter Boards. I have grown to have great respect for him. But he still, just like Jeremy Frommer, still believes that Jeff Easton is an honest actor, even though Jeremy Frommer is fighting hard and recognizes what's going on and I think has leadership skills. He still listens to Jeff Easton. Why? Because that's a human blind spot. I don't happen to have that blind spot. In this case, I have it with women. I have it with business partners. I have it with dogs. But luckily, I've never met a dog that has guile or means me harm. So that's the only area of my life that every dog I meet, I totally love and believe in the moment I meet him. And I've never been disappointed by a dog. But anyway, Logic was left by Aubrey Advisors with no money and in the backwash of the complete intentional, in my judgment, destruction of Collective Audience. Logic lost all of its people. They had no money, and they were on the verge of losing the one thing that Logic promised to her shareholders, which is we're going to maintain our status as a highly desirable, essentially shell company, although they had a couple of assets, so I don't know if they meet that definition. But essentially, a highly desirable company that's current in our filings, current in our reports everywhere, and is pristine. Well, Aubrey Advisors, I think intentionally tried to destroy that. It didn't work, but it put the timeline, it kicked the timeline out by at least it kicked the timeline out by at least a quarter, if not more like 4 or 5 months. Well, what happened? Logic needed capital to keep its pristinity. I don't know what word I tried to make, but to keep its desirableness as a reverse merger candidate. Now, I believe Aubrey Advisors clients, who Aubrey Advisors represents, not the corporate clients, the big hedge funds, so-called hedge funds, I believe they completely destroyed the market cap of both Logic, probably less so Logic, but Collective Audience, possibly to the tune of $100 million. Now, they have to protect that. They have to protect that. The 2 members on the board of Collective Audience are there to protect that massive non-closed out position, criminal position of counterfeit shares. And I think that also applies in Logic. But Logic might also have real shares. They may have shorts left over from Ionic, even though a lawyer told me that Ionic does not short Logic and never shorts any stocks, I'd be curious to see how that statement would hold up in full disclosure in court, full discovery in court. And the 4 people that invested, so-called funds that invested in Logic at $3 on the NEO stock exchange. So there are shorts that have carried over from this destruction in Logic. So anyway, what did the delay of 3 to 5 months do? Money. It meant that Logic needed to restate their filings for the year, and they may have had to go back one further year. I can't remember. They also had to add to their filings that the last entire year, and they had to do the first quarter. Money. So Logic raised money. They did that. They're pristine. And apparently recently they raised more money, because you can see in the filings, they increased the shares outstanding from approximately 232 million to 277 million. Obviously, they raised some money, because we're now in the second quarter of 2025 when Aubrey advisors, those brilliant advisors who have done 100 de-SPACs, assured the company they would have it de-SPACed in the third quarter of last year. And the idea was that Logic would then have a company come in as a reverse merger, I think at the $600 million level. That I get from the interviews and the press releases and extrapolation. Well, time's gone by. The company announced, I don't have it in front of me, I'm sorry, because I got two different stacks of paper. The company announced in May that they did a $100 million reverse merger with a company called MetaLab or something. You can look it up. And we get 15% of that. Based on the original amount of shares out, that was 6 cents a share. But because they clearly raised some more money, it's now 5 cents a share to us. Logic is trading at, and I'm sorry, it's 3 o'clock. I'll keep going, but if you have to go, you have to go. Logic right now is trading at 2.5 cents. So ostensibly, that binding letter of intent to reverse merger into is for this company to reverse merger, private company, into Logic. It's worth 5 cents a share to us. In that press release, they said it would be completed by the end of July. We're not at the end of July yet. We got 2 weeks to go for the end of July. Now, in that press release, it stated this is the first of a series of reverse merger candidates. It also stated that they had 2 more under letter of intent. So that's a total of 3, 1 binding and 2 more under letter of intent. Now, I don't know the definition of series that lawyers are using. To me, a series is more than 3, but maybe a series is 3. I don't know. It wasn't explained. There was no definitional section of the press release. So if we make an assumption that it's the 3 is it, we might be wrong, but we might be right too. In the press release, it said that the series of reverse merger candidates would be worth more than $750 million, not 100 million, 750 million. If just for simplicity, we assume a series is 3, we assume those 3 are all under letters of intent, 1 is binding, the 2 are pending. And if we assume those 3 are worth more than 750 million, if we assume the company raised whatever they raised because that expanded the shares to 277 million, I think we can assume that they're going to have enough money to do their filing, keep the company pristine for the second quarter. Now, we know the first one is targeted to be finished end of July. The other two, I would guess they're going to aggressively try to get those at least in binding contract by the end of July. Why? Now, it doesn't mean we'll hear about it, but effective by the end of July. Why? Because they're running against the clock. Every time they go into a new quarter, the SEC is going to require a whole new set of clean financial documents so they can be a pristine company to reverse merger into. Every incentive is on the table for Logic to get these series at least signed up in binding contracts in the next 2 weeks. Will they close in the next 2 weeks? I doubt it. I think that's why they raised more money. And I'm getting that from the fact that they expanded the number of shares. So what's a reasonable amount of time after the quarter closes if you do everything as of the close of the quarter? I think it's reasonable that the auditors that are being paid with this new money raised, in my assumption, can take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks to finish everything up with the lawyers and still be able to report it as of the end of July. So my guess on Logic is a pure guess. We're going to hear news in the next 2 weeks or so, but I bet it's in the next 2 weeks, on one that they've already announced being they've got it done and dusted, and then 2 more that they announced already under LOI being binding. And how long does it take to complete? I would say 6 weeks. So I would say we're looking at 2 weeks for announcements and another 6 weeks to complete. All right, what are the risks? If Brent listens to Yorkville advisors, Aubrey advisors, or anybody like that, that's a risk. It's a risk. And I think that risk exists. If Brent and the other CEOs look at the stock price, which the shorts have now down to 2.5 cents. And by the way, if those 3 companies using the numbers in the press release are done based on the valuations implied in the press release, it works out to 40 cents a share. 40 cents a share. Stock's trading at 2.5 cents. Now, the risk here comes, what if the CEOs bicker with Brent and say, wait a minute, you told us you were going to give us shares worth X amount, and now the stock price, if we look at the stock price in the market, they're not worth that much. Well, if he loses that argument, then you can kiss 40 cents goodbye. It might go down to 20 cents. My opinion, Brent is smart enough to get the 3 potential CEOs together and say, Mrs. CEO, Mr. CEO, and Fraulein CEO, we have agreed the valuations. We have agreed that we get 15%. Let's do the arithmetic, and let's do it all simultaneously. And we'll ignore the price that the criminals have gotten the stock down to as a result of Aubrey Advisors' disastrous SPAC sponsorship and de-SPAC. If they do that, I think you have 40 cents in the Logic shares, which should be announced, I think, within the next 2 weeks or so. And it's up to you to understand, yes, the stock's down. It's 2.5 cents. And it's easy to borrow. And the market's set up so that what's her name at NASDAQ, collecting $2.5 million a month. She doesn't care. Just keep selling. SEC, just keep selling. FINRA, just keep selling. Broker dealers, just keep selling. Boo Birds on Twitter. Hey, William's a fraud. He's just a fraud. We are here to save you. We're the bashers, one and all. We don't have real names, but we're here out of the goodness of our heart to save you from the fraud. So just let us keep shorting. Let us keep selling. Don't listen. Okay. I can't. I told you 2 weeks ago. I congratulate the criminals. I congratulate the counterfeiters. I congratulate them. They win. I'm not going to fight them anymore. But I'm going to tell you the system, there's still a gravity and momentum and circumference and movement in the market that works with certain laws. Fear and greed, losing money, making money. And in the case of Logic, if you have a 2.5 cent stock and within 2 weeks or so, they announce 3 deals that come to a value of more than 750 million, and they do it on arithmetic, not on stock price, it's worth more than 40 cents a share. Where do you think the stock price of Logic's going to go? Down? Maybe the criminals can drive it down. They might. But I think it's going to go up, and I think there'll be a trade. Why has it taken so long? You have to remember, and maybe it's hard to remember, Brent for a while was the CEO of Collective Audience. I mean, in its birthing, he was, but just before or on or around the D-SPAC, Peter Bordes came in. But that was Brent's time was taken up with that. Brent's also the CEO of 2 or 3 other companies. He's taken up by all of this. He's working his butt off. Everything takes time with the SEC. Everything takes time with auditors. Everything takes time with lawyers. Everything takes time with the World Bank, as my dad used to say. Those fellas, those people, those girls over at the World Bank, everything goes S, L, O, W, L, Y. Well, this is what happens at the SEC. This is what happens with lawyers. This is what happens with auditors. Will Logic take more time? Yeah, sure, it could. It's already been disappointing. I mean, I was looking at it from 12/21 when I was telling you it was a stock to buy for the January effect, one of many. It was 4 cents during the day, 4 cents. It's now 2.5 cents. This is before 12/21. No, that would be after the D-SPAC. So it's been horrible. It's down. It's at 0.0249. It was 4 cents on 12/21/24. 20. I'm confused. 23. We're in 24. So it's been horrible waiting We've had to wait December, January, February, March, April, May, June. Now we're July. So I guess we're actually in the third quarter, aren't we? We're January, February, March, April, May, June. We're already in the third quarter, July, August, September. Yeah, we're already in the third quarter. So I guess, you know what? Some of what I just argued might be wrong. They may take more time in the third quarter than I suggest. But let me just finish up on logic by saying, I don't think Brent's going to listen to Aubrey Advisors. He might listen to Yorkville, unfortunately, because there's a company there's another company that I like. I don't know anything about it other than its website called Zap that it's doing business with Yorkville. It's always possible he'll do business with Yorkville. And that's a risk. I have to admit, that's a risk in dealing with logic. Because Yorkville are just clever liars, in my judgment. They destroyed Wolf. That guy, Ari Rubenstein, I think, was with them. I think he was certainly on the board of FINRA. They're working with DJT. I don't know. But I also believe that Brent is working hard. He is fully aware of the risks of signing these kind of toxic notes. I think we've already, and it's just has to be done type thing, I guess. But we've already helped out the shorts by doing a 50-for-1 reverse split. So that's going to come into effect, and that's going to bail the butt out of the shorts. They're going to be able to take 95% of their money out of their prime brokers without paying any taxes. And Wagner doesn't care. She wants to protect the privacy of those Cayman Island guys. The Yorkville Cayman Island Opportunity Fund. But I think Brent will raise money if he needs to raise money. I think he will do it with friendly investors in a plain vanilla way. So I don't think, even if he goes to Yorkville, that it's going to limit the trade value in logic. It may limit the squeeze opportunity in logic, but I've never told you there will be a squeeze in logic. I think they have it totally under control. So if Brent uses all his powers, gets the three CEOs to negotiate at the same time, they announce at essentially the same time, it's worth over 750 million, and we get 15%, 40 cents a share, using 300 million shares outstanding. Multiplying that by 50, you have a $20 stock with revenue in the biotech space, with forward earnings, with research. I hope it's on the New York Stock Exchange, not on the joke of an exchange that Adina Friedman runs, as far as small cap companies are concerned. But remember, you're going to have a company, and I can probably figure it out for you. It'll be at least 2 billion shares outstanding post reverse merger, but you've got to divide that by 50. So you'll probably have, I hope on the New York, a company with 40 million shares issued and authorized at $20 a share, with revenue streams, research analysts, institutional buyers, and if series means more than 3, with more companies coming in. It's going to be really hard for the criminal short sellers to stay in Newco logic at $20 when they have cash flow, revenue, and earnings, and they're growing. So in my opinion, PS 71, logic at 2.5 cents is the screaming buy. The shorts continue to short it because they're trapped, because they day trade, and because it recently went to 3.2. They got it down to 2.5. They hit and run. They say Williams a fraud, the Brent and the company's a fraud, but they just shorted 10,000 shares. They got 75 cents out of it. They make 7,500 or whatever that works out to, and they go buy a drink at the bar. That's all they're about. And you get frustrated. I get frustrated. I'm trapped in the thing. But what's coming is a quantum leap in share price value. And I believe Brent Sun is going to do it without dilution caused by these big funds. I do think there's a risk that he will give a company like Yorkville Advisors a way to raise money like they gave to Trump at a higher price, give them shares, and then they will just, the criminals will be able to give the new logic the money that they created by selling stock that doesn't exist, and then the company will give new shares to cross and settle. But I think that'll be done at 40 or 50 or 60 cents a share, not at these levels. That's why I'm not positive there'll be a squeeze in logic. But is there a trade from 2.5 cents to 25 cents? That would be my mind. That would be my mindset, that you could trade from 2.5 cents to 25 cents. And if you get out at 10 cents or 15 cents, power to you. I'm all for it. There's no reason to not book a profit once logic starts trading upward. Anyway, that's my long answer on logic. Somebody asked me about the expert market. Let me quickly look up expert market because I found a page that describes it. Let me just see if I can find it again. Yeah, from OTC Markets, there's a page on understanding the expert market. And I'll just read it to you. And I remind you that Richard's on the other channel. I have no problem if you go listen to him and come back and replay this. But anyway, from OTC Markets, written by Cass Stanford on March 25th, 2021, she writes, the SEC's amendment to Rule 15C2-11 goes into effect on September 28th, 2021, and will effectively eliminate public broker-dealer quoting in securities of issuers who do not make current information publicly available, giving effect to the SEC's stated goals of encouraging public company disclosure. They don't care about disclosing the criminal activity from the short sellers. They just go after public companies. Remember that. OTC Markets Group will use its expert market, SM, as a venue for broker-dealers to publish unsolicited quotes representing customer limit orders in, quote, no information, unquote, securities. What is the expert market? OTC Markets Group currently operates the expert market as a distinct market tier for a small number of companies. However, on September 28th of 2021, this market tier will expand to include a broader range of slaughtered companies, a broader range of securities. Following the upcoming changes to Rule 15C2-11, companies who do not make current information publicly available under the rule will shift to the expert market. Quotes in the expert market will be unsolicited only. This means broker-dealers may use the expert market to meet their best execution responsibilities. Let's pause a minute and give you a definition of best execution responsibilities. This is all just words. Under Gary Gensler, they don't care about any of this. They really don't. But okay, listen to this. If you believe this happens, you believe that, well, we'll leave it there. Best execution is both an ethical guideline and a legal mandate. It ensures brokers place their clients' interests first when routing trades for execution. Well, who's their client? Who's their client? Is it Polar or is it collective audience? Broker incentives such as commissions are secondary to their customers' needs. Do you think the prime broker and the market makers are putting your interests first? Do you think Adina Friedman puts your interests first? All right, from FINRA, best execution, regulatory obligations, and related considerations. FINRA Rule 5310, best execution and interpositioning requires that in any transactions for or with a customer or a customer of another broker-dealer, a member, and persons associated with a member shall use reasonable diligence to ascertain the best market for the subject security and buy or sell in such a market so the resultant price to a customer is as favorable as possible under prevailing market conditions. Firms must conduct a, quote, regular and rigorous, unquote, review of the execution quality of customer orders if the firm does not conduct an order-by-order review, which they don't. Where regular and rigorous reviews are used instead, the reviews must be performed at a minimum of on a quarterly basis. Anyway, it goes on. I'm going to go back. It's all just Kamala Harris could write this better. Okay. Okay, quotes in the expert market will be unsolicited only. This means broker-dealers may use the expert market to meet their best execution responsibilities under FINRA rules and publish unsolicited quotes representing limited orders from retail and institutional investors who were not affiliates of or insiders of the company. Who has access to the expert market? Quotation in the expert market securities are restricted from public viewing. Only broker-dealers and professional or sophisticated investors, the thieves, are permitted to view quotations in the expert market securities. Despite the restrictions on who can view quotations, the expert market does not impose restrictions on who can trade these securities. Rule 15C2-11 governs a broker's ability to submit, publish, or distribute quotations, bid and offers, bid and asks, in over-the-counter securities. The rule does not apply to the underlying transactions or the ability of an investor to buy or sell a security. Why is the expert market important? The expert market offers a regulated trading venue where broker-dealers can satisfy their best execution obligations. It's a FINRA obligation, the best execution, legal and ethical. This article comes from the OTC markets. It offers insight into activity which would otherwise be hidden in the opaque gray market. Are you kidding me? They say this with a straight face? How is the expert market different from the gray market? The gray market is an opaque market where broker-dealers are not willing or able to publicly quote OTC securities given the lack of investor interest, company information, or regulatory compliance. Unlike the gray market, where this is no public quote at all, the expert market provides additional price transparency as it allows for unsolicited quoting. In other words, it's just a setup to manipulate you and to manipulate the stock price. I added that in my opinion. How are companies affected by these changes? The answer depends on the market on which your securities trade. In order to be quoted by broker-dealers on the pink market, a company must provide current public disclosure on an ongoing basis. This may include disclosure provided to the SEC filing system through a non-US stock exchange or regulator, or to OTC markets directly via our OTCIQ platform. Okay. OTC markets. The president is R. Cromwell Coulson. They acquired the predecessor business in 1997, and Cromwell has transformed the company from a privately held publisher of broker-dealer quotations into a slaughterhouse where criminals can steal without any concern. That's my editorial edition. No, he's transformed the company from a privately held publisher of quotations into a publicly traded company operating 3 public markets for 12,000 securities. They trade $445 billion in dollar volume. Cromwell is a strong advocate of improving capital formation. He is? Really? Supporting a diverse ecosystem of broker-dealers and empowering investors. There, when you hear words like he's empowering investors, you know you can sleep tight. With increased disclosure and transparency. Really. He has testified before Congress. He was the former chair of the FINRA Market Regulation Committee, and that advises FINRA on rulemaking and trading policies. Prior to all this stellar performance on his part, he was an institutional trader and a portfolio manager at Carr Securities Corporation. He has an OPM from the Harvard Business School, and he received his BBA from Southern Methodist University. So you know he's of the highest ethical standard. The company culture.
Call from unknown.
Our secret sauce, why OTC Markets Group is ranked as one of the best places to work in New York City. I'll leave it there, but I wanted to find the other people who work with him. Anyway, let's just leave it there for now. Oh, you listened to Not Legal Advice? What was it? Was it good? There is hope. That's great. Not Legal Advice was depressing. I didn't watch it. Ham didn't leave me much time, and I had written down a bunch of questions to answer. There's a couple more I'm supposed to answer. One on finger. Can't read my own writing. And another one, I just can't read my writing. Ted Stalitz, William, don't joke with Ham so much. He is serious, and most responses from me are not. Well, I apologize to you, Ted. I apologize for coming across as a non-serious and I guess as a jokester. Ted, I sit here and listen to it, and to me, it gets pretty intense. It goes on and on. I try to interrupt it, but instead goes on with the same on. I try to interject humor to see if I can get in there. Doesn't work. I'm sorry, Ted. I won't do it in the future. I will be as serious as I can be in every single answer. No more humor, nothing, just seriousness. Vanden Place, I just read this new system called Expert Market, and the Expert Market, it can only be unsolicited reporting of bid and ask of markets, But as I understand it, from what I just read, it's close only. You may not, I don't know this for sure. I'm just learning the ramifications of it. You may not be able to buy shares of GTII. And I guess that's what they told you. It's this area called, sorry, I have to go to the top of the page, called Expert Market. And it went into effect this September 28, 2021. In my opinion, this is set up so the criminals can confuse the situation. Now, there's a website Ham told me about. Let me see if I can find it. No, I can't find it. Let me see if let me just go .com. I don't know Vanden Place. I can't find the website. I have a feeling it won't work anyway. Time and sales might show up somewhere, but on the over-the-counter markets, if you go to over-the-counter markets, you type in GTII. They don't give you any quotes, nothing. Now that's interesting. They do have trade data, so you can follow the trade data on OTC markets, but it's only for the last sort of 10 trades. You can see, for example, that at almost 3 o'clock, they did 3,134 shares at 0.078. At 2:33, they did 2,475 shares at 8 cents, and so on. I really think this is a way for the criminals to manipulate the price, to cross trades, and the SEC is not going to care. Cross trades illegally. Sorry, hey, PS71, sorry if I went on too long. Oh, I'm overthinking it? All right. How would a new reverse? I think a press release. I don't know about a record date. I know you're already gone, but there would be a record date, I suppose. But I don't think PS71, if you're still listening, I don't think a record date would affect your right to anything. In other words, if you own Logic, there's not going to be any shares trading after the reverse merger separately. You know what I mean? It's not going to be a D-SPAC like, I see what you were asking me now. It's not going to be a D-SPAC like Aubrey Advisors did, where you have NewCo trading separately from the abandoned company. It's all going to remain one company. So a record date's not going to matter, but to you, in my opinion, or to any of us, there'll be a press release. I think the trading would start almost immediately on that press release. Up, I think. Well, out of respect for the gentleman, I promised I'll keep it serious and not make any response to that except to let people read it. I know you're already gone. Yeah, I can get Bird Lady on. I'd be glad to. And I can talk about both those stocks. I'm sure she knows them better than I do. I'm going to try to remain serious, keep my comments serious. I don't think it's clear that they will let that occur, but I hope so. I hope you're right, Andy. I hope you're right. I'm going to go to the bottom and I'll come back up. It's not so criminals can cross trades. That sounds paranoid. I added the criminals crossing the trades because that's my opinion. But if you want to believe that this system is set up to protect you, not the criminals, you certainly are well advised to do so. You can sleep at night better. But I would recommend, if that's the view you take, that you probably should just put your money in ETFs and managed accounts, because I think there's every indication here that I'll give you an example that I want to keep everything simple, serious. Just got to keep it serious. Laughter is life. No. You got to be serious. No joking. And I'm glad to do it. I can be serious. Thank you, Stan. Am I serious about being serious? It's pretty good. Sorry for laughing. Oh, you did, John? You bought shares of GTII? So I guess you can then. Maybe I'm having your baby. How did that song go? Let's reread that. Let's reread it. This is according to over-the-counter markets. I just read it. Despite the restrictions on who can view quotations, the expert market does not impose restrictions on who can trade securities. Rule 15C2-11 governs a broker's ability to submit, publish, or distribute quotations in securities. The rule does not apply to the underlying transactions or the ability of an investor to buy or sell a security. So I think what that must mean, even though I just misrepresented it, but just because I was absorbing this information and processing it, I was wrong. What must mean is some broker dealers tell you it's closing transaction only because they don't want the risk if you buy it. That's what it is. But it's the rule itself, and the expert market itself does not limit your ability to buy. So I bet John Croissant did not buy at what was it, Schwab, that wouldn't let you do a trade? No, I think they can buy. I was wrong, Lee. They can buy. But remember, there's different rules for institutions. I'm not going to call them criminal because that's paranoid on my part. But on the players who fail to locate, which is against the law, they fail to borrow, which is against the law, they fail to own shares before they sell, which is against the law, who manipulate prices, which is against the law, who coordinate their activity with other players to keep prices down, which is against the law, but they're not criminals. Those are highly valued clients of prime brokers. And so, no, they'll be able to close out their positions and they'll do it at low prices. And my guess is, without sounding paranoid, that the prime brokers voluntarily, unsolicited, will publish some trades that are low, not higher, in order to help their best clients, who are these LLCs, these offshore pools of money, who are our investment funds, who sell hundreds of millions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars a year in stock that doesn't exist. Those are their true clients. So no, I think they can. I was wrong. One penny. Unbelievable. They promised that. I don't know if you remember that, John. I was live maybe it was back when the heat was on regarding my advice to people in MMTLP to move from worthless, non-existent MMTLP into NextBridge real shares, not worthless, but indeterminate. We can't determine their value for sure. Back then, so that was maybe a month ago. I don't know. But anyway, while I was here, I think I read it out. I got some text messages, or it was right here on this screen. But they said we're going to take it down to a penny. They did. Yeah, I think, John, the idea, particularly as Ham described it today, the idea of trying to trade in other stocks or other ideas, and then taking a little bit of that profit to average your cost down, that can make sense. But GTII, I guess we kind of have to define a finish line. All right, we're done with the past. And then a starting line. All right, this is how we're going to go forward, and this is our goals, and this is how we're going to execute it. That has to happen. I was wrong, Lee, on that. There's hope. Yeah, Richard's great. He's always good except for the bad jokes. Well, I'll tell him what Stan recommended to me. But I think Richard's jokes are in a serious vein. I think Stan is more about me. You know, I was taught never to joke when you're dealing with people's money. And so Stan's probably right. I'll just be serious. It is a big loss. I do think it can be a tax write-off. And if Biden is reelected, tax write-offs are going to be worth 50 cents on the dollar if you ever have profits. Short-term and long-term is going to be over 50% under Biden's proposals. Let me just check my somebody. All right, let's see. So Richard can come on with me today at 5:30, or he can come on at 3 o'clock on Thursday. Tell me which would be better, today at 5:30 or tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I'm undecided. It might be better to do it tomorrow for everyone to process what they heard from him today, is my first reaction. Well, Vandam plays, I'm reading your last sentence. This security GTI is accepting closing transactions only, and it is Schwab. My guess is it's Schwab, not after I read this, it's Schwab. They have a right to do that. And certainly the four big brokerage firms, Merrill, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, UBS, they, with lower price securities, I'm sure they have a whole suite of securities which are closing only. We are due more, Mark. I am. But I have a feeling, and I give credit to Peter Boards for this. I'm just trying to think over my reasoning. I'll look into it to make sure I'm right. But as I'm talking to you, I think he's delaying releasing those shares. But as I'm talking to you, what I remember is 11 months. So 11 months from November would be October, I think. It's one of those. But it's either his conscious decision or it's built in to the distribution. But I think it's good that it gives time for Peter to build up. At some point, he's really good at it, I think. He's going to bring in companies. And it seems to me, even though he has at the market financing, which is destructive to the per share benefit of any acquisition, I think he's being very parsimonious on the shares he's issuing down at these levels. He's in a tough spot. He's already in bed with Aubrey Advisors and Polar. So the goal is, I would think, is to bring many companies in and build that revenue, build the cash flow, build the earnings. And then you could start seeing the stock catch a bid, catch some strength. And then that would be the best time to issue the other 2/3. But it might, to my memory, it also might be that it's built in that it's 11 months. I'll try to look that up before I'm going to tell him, let's do it tomorrow. Well, let me see what your answers were first. No answers. All right, I'll do tomorrow. All right, I told him tomorrow. Filing was September 23. Yeah, Mark, but what I remember, maybe if you have it there, you can look it up. What I remember is from the D-SPAC date. I can try to look it up. From the date of D-SPAC, I think there's 11 months. I mean, the problem is it'll take so long to find it. But I can try. I can try. Biden just said that he would drop out if a doctor told him his health was bad. That might be a preliminary. That might be a preliminary way they're going to get him out, is have a doctor to then he can keep his pride. Which, I mean, if he really is in elderly dementia, his first stages, it's not fair to him what's going on. All right. It's going to, Mark, it's going to take too long. What I remember is that the time to count was from the D-SPAC date, which wasn't September 29. It was third week in November, maybe, last year. Today with Richard, the sooner the better. I just told him tomorrow. And you know why, John? Partly is I don't think my computer will last without freezing that long today. So that was one of my reasons too. All right, here, Mark said it. It was 11 months. So it's 11 months from the closing date. So that's not the D-SPAC, that's the closing. All right, Mark, I'll look it up unless you have it there, but I'm not going to do it while everybody's on the line. The sacrificial lamb knows. Did I know John Hinckley has a YouTube channel? I didn't even know he's alive. I don't know why I would. I don't know what your point is. I really don't know your point. If you're trying to equate me with John Hinckley, thank you very much. Yeah, short Vixen. All they have to do is update their financials. Yeah, that's true. But it's money, and maybe it's also advice from their attorney not to do it. It's not cheap, by the way, to update your financials. If you go too many quarters, it really adds up to a lot of money. I mean, if you have to do a couple of quarters, depending on who you use, it can be $250,000. I'll look up these stocks, Digley and all that. All right, so I guess I've answered everything. I can't read the other question I wrote down, but I did make a note to say to you. Let me just see if I can read it. I can't. But I did make a note here to say, and I do want to say, that I really think that what's coming for finger motion is you have an ability to make a trade. It's $2 right now, basically. If it goes to 4, you double your money, which is a nice trade. And I think it can go to 4. It could go to 6, and you triple your money. I think that's a good trade. I've already told you that I think there's going to be a trade in Logic. I don't know how to tell you this if you don't own it. I don't own it, but I think Wolf it's broken out of its trap with Yorkville Advisors. So if I had to pick a number where Wolf is going to go, I would say $15, maybe higher. All right, Billy Ray, ASTS. I'll write it down. I'm a little bit interested in this. What is it? PDD, something like that. It's the Chinese competition to Amazon. I think that might be something. I think that, okay, it's 407. Let's see how everything closed. Everything's in the red. Everything's in the red. Logic closed at 252. I guess that's not right. Where did it close? It closed at 249, 0.0249. So I guess it's down a little bit. GTII apparently closed at 0.076. It opened at, as someone pointed out, at 0.01. I'd like to get those guys. I really would. DJT closed at 36.44, down 45 cents, but it's up $1.50. No, not anymore. Not anymore. Now it's in the red in the aftermarkets. All right, it looks like we're done then. No more comments, no more talk. No more comedy jokes. Okay, so I'm going to sign off. I'll come on tomorrow. I'll set it up with Richard for 3 p.m. tomorrow. I thank everybody for listening. And yes, I want to pray for Jenny, Rebecca. Where is this? Prayers for Jenny L. and Thomas Dubois. That's a deal, Barbara. Prayers for Jenny L. and Thomas Dubois. And I appreciate everybody. Thank you, PS71. I know you might be gone. You're going to listen later. So I gave that answer. So I won't say more. All right, Mark. I am going to say good night to everybody. Peace on earth. Peace in your lives. And love to everyone. Cheers.